I'm a jack of all trades. Master of none is the second half of that phrase, but not today, Not today. You get me on this show, and then I'll be back later this afternoon to sit in on that other show.
I get your chair right. I do all the other things, but I'm not going to. That's the one thing I'm not adjusting your poll.
You know what? I'm just gonna let that be what it is. I'm just gonna let that sit right there. Just know, ladies and gentlemen, in case you were curious, not only did Lonzo not adjust my poll, but I wiggled my poll. I had to shake the poll around a little bit to get it working. Then I got the poll in the spot it needs to be in. I twisted my poll just a little bit, and now we're streaming, and it does indeed not cost you $9.99 a month to enjoy the stream, which you can find at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com. Nope, not on Twitter. No mas. Facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Listen, if you listen to the show every morning, if you listen to the show any mornings, if you listen to the show once a morning, once a week in the morning, do us a favor. Like us on social media, because here's the thing. Whether you like it or whether you don't, what the reality is, Lonzo is judged based on our social media numbers, okay? Like his performance is judged on nothing other than our social media performance, okay? The responsibility falls on him. So go to the Facebook page at facebook.com/thefanupstate. Give us a like and a follow on YouTube as well at The Fan Upstate, and do the same for the Rob Brown Show across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And of course, on top of all of that, come to the stream. Come hang out with us. Lonzo, when I go live, 4 hours a day, all 5 days a week. This time next week, I'll be off. I'll be off for a week and a half, as a matter of fact, heading down to Florida to get married. So our last full week of broadcasting is this week. I jump on board, full speed ahead. All right. We got a lot we got to get to, a lot we got to talk about on the show today. We're going to talk quite a bit of NFL today. We're going to talk a lot of college football today as we, again, look ahead to the weekend upcoming. It's a big one. I'm not going to say it's a separation Saturday. We're not quite there yet, but obviously, while Clemson is off this weekend, the Gamecocks aren't. The Gamecocks got game day coming to town this weekend. Kirk and Pat and Reese and the boys gonna be over by the Cockabooses doing a little broadcasting in the daytime. And I'm gonna say, I was gonna save this audio for later on in the show, but I'll go ahead and play it here because I said yesterday we're gonna talk about this today. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the name, image, and likeness era of college football. Name, image, and likeness, as I have mentioned multiple times, might be the most important resource that there is available. It is a very important thing that you have to deal with. Yesterday, we talked about, for instance, Colorado. There was a report going out that Deion Sanders had asked the Colorado band not to play the Colorado fight song after Shedeur scored a touchdown so that instead they could play Shedor's hip-hop song over the PA. And Colorado came out and said, nuh-uh, that's not true. What actually happened is we play Shedor's fight song or Shedor's rap song, then we play the fight song. We built a space in there. We built a spot in there where there's no band to play Shedor's hip-hop song. Then we play. So, like, yes, what was reported happened. It's just that it wasn't don't play the fight song. It's play the fight song after we play Shedor's rap song. And we talked a little bit about it, and I said, and we can go back into the, how does this make you feel? How does this make you feel? Well, what I brought up was, I kind of get it, right? I kind of get it because NIL is a big deal. Building a brand. NIL, it revolves around your brand above all else, right? Like we know that. NIL is name, image, and likeness, which I would argue are the three things that constitute your ability to build a brand. If you are going to build a brand, those three things are important. And you can get your name, image, and likeness out there in a multitude of ways, depending on what it is that you want to do. South Carolina's got a massive opportunity this weekend. South Carolina's got a huge opportunity this weekend. And that opportunity is to take advantage of College Game Day being there. And I think it is, and I'm going to say this respectfully, but I mean it. I think it's more important with the current setup than it has been in years gone by, right? We're all Lee Corso guys. Nobody dislikes Coach Corso. But what Pat McAfee brings to the table as a new desk guy, what Pat Mac brings to the table, and what Game Day has leaned on more and more the last couple of years, is featuring the community, right? Because in years gone by, yeah, they talked about where you were, but they did like one food segment, and then all their little focus features were dialed in on, some connection to the team. It's, this kid over here is a lifelong fan, and he's got this life struggle, and they're rallying around him. Or this lady over here, she adopted 3 of the players and gave them somewhere to live while they're trying to make their dreams come true, and yada yada yada. But now, and they did this at the compound last week for A&M. You got Pat McAfee over there talking about that big-ass American flag. You got Pat McAfee over here talking about this and getting the fans involved. He gives you chances to scream your fight song or your chant or whatever the case might be. I think that Game Day has added a renewed emphasis on what the community around a football program looks like. And here's the best part for you, Gamecocks. This isn't like here's an opportunity for you to introduce how incredible the home atmosphere is in Columbia, South Carolina. And if you don't believe me, here's Pat McAfee taking time out of his nationally syndicated podcast and broadcast on ESPN yesterday to talk about you.
The Gamecocks fans took that entire place over. I assume there's going to be quite a scene on Saturday morning in South Carolina.
Oh, no doubt.
I
Great
assume,
fan base.
Great fan base.
Really, I went to their stadium. They played. My brother played at Akron, and that wasn't obviously a huge game, but great fan base. They show up,
and they're like the Cornhuskers.
Yes,
they've been waiting. Now they got a big time game. They beat LSU. That's huge deal.
And college football is just better when Brian Kelly's all the time. When his face is beat red, when he's yelling at his players, just being an absolute maniac on the sidelines. That's when college football is at its best. So we'll see. I'm not saying I want LSU to lose on Saturday, but I certainly, wouldn't be upset.
It's going to be rowdy down there because, like we talked about earlier, they don't have NFL football in the Carolinas. They just have South Carolina.
No, they got the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Come on.
There's no $1.80 ticket for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
No.
Okay, I love that for a lot of reasons. Number one, shots fired at the Carolina Panthers. And number 2 is Lonzo has obviously sunk his teeth into. He said, that's all they got in the Carolinas. Skipped right on past Los Tigres. But we'll put that aside for a minute. We'll come back to that later. The disrespect of the Clemson Tigers by Pat McAfee. Put that aside for just a minute. Instead, dial in on this. Here is, I think, right now, love him, hate him, doesn't matter, the most notorious member of the College Game Day broadcasting team. The guy that has, I think, again, I know a lot of people don't like Pat McAfee. Think he's a meathead. Think he's over the top. I'm not one of them. I actually really like Pat. I've told you in the past, it's because Pat McAfee's doing the show that I've always seen in my head as this show, right? When I was down in Florida, I used to tell my boss, there was an old YMCA down there that was about to get destroyed. And I told my boss when I lived down there, pennies on the dollar, buy that, turn it into a sports broadcasting mecca. I wanted to be in an old basketball gym, right? It's a great show. It's a great concept. I've had it for years. McAfee turned it into a reality, and hell yeah, great job for doing it. I'm a big McAfee guy. I'm a fan. The show's just off the rails, unhinged. If you listen to the show for any length of time, you get it. I'm a bit of a meathead myself. I understand. So when you get this guy, who to me, this guy has added a certain level of energy to college football game day that it has been respectfully missing the last couple of years. And I say this as, again, a Lee Corso guy. Over the past couple of years, as Lee Corso has kind of had to take steps back from the show week by week, I think he shows up now, for like 2 segments? He shows up at like the beginning of the last hour to make a couple of picks, and then he does headgear at the end, and that's really it. As Lee has had to take a step back a little bit more every year, that show to me kind of lost some juice. Because listen, Kirk Herbstreit's good at what he does. The rest of that crew, they're all good at what they do. Desmond, good at what he does. They're all good at what they do, but they're all just kind of regular broadcasters. I say that with all the respect I can muster.
I appreciate the fact that you said that about Desmond and didn't at least crack a smile.
I like Des. I do.
He's made some.
He has had some gaffes, and he is a huge homer. Huge homer.
Yeah, he's made some really bad ones lately.
For sure. Huge homer. But again, I don't expect the guys on that desk to be talking about college football with the utmost professionalism. That's not what game day is.
Yeah, that's Reese. Yeah.
That's the one guy. And that's literally his role on the show, right? To add that level of suit and tie to it.
He's no Ernie, though.
He is no Ernie. That is correct. Ain't no Ernie but Ernie. But I think that the show needed an injection of adrenaline, and that's what Pat McAfee is. He's there. The reason that I am on this station, because the goal was to have an injection of adrenaline, a little noise, a little excitement, give a little gas to the program, right? That's why I'm here, and that's why McAfee's there. And the fact that this guy was going into that broadcast yesterday and was given the Gamecocks props for how good of an environment it is. He was given the Gamecocks props for how wonderful the home field environment is, et cetera, et cetera. With all that going on, I think that this is a massive opportunity for you, South Carolina. I think it's a massive opportunity for you guys to show recruits coming into the college game, the ones that maybe aren't just in it for the bag, the ones that are looking at it and going, I want to go somewhere that they love football. I want to go somewhere that's trending upwards, and I get to be a part of building something special. And I'm going to go to a place that when I know when I walk out onto the field, whether it's at noon on a Saturday or 7:30 p.m. or Thursday night, or as Matt Rule said, at 9 o'clock in the morning with some kegs, eggs, and football, I want to know that the people I'm playing for, the people whose logo is on the side of the lid, are jacked, are jazzed, are going to be there, are going to give it what they got. And this is your chance, South Carolina, to put the best you got on display. And I will say, this is a situation where there's no, you can get it right, you can get it wrong, or meh, it is what it is. There's no, it is what it is here. At the conclusion of that broadcast on Saturday, rolling straight into the game, by the way, because it's a midday game. Rolling straight into the game, they are gonna hang up the broadcast and flip it right inside the stadium for kickoff. There's no, it is what it is with this. You are either going to make yourself, as Nebraska did. They didn't have game day last week, but you know what Nebraska had? They had the Colorado Buffaloes coming to town. They had the national broadcast. They had the night game that everybody was tuning into. And what did the black shirts do? What did Nebraska do? They got everybody jazzed. You know how I know that? Because on McAfee's show, he directly compared you to the Cornhuskers. He said, hey, they're just like Nebraska. They've been waiting a long time for an opportunity like this, a chance like this. And that's spot on. You've been waiting a long time for an opportunity like this. You've been waiting a long time for a shot at a moment like this. Here it is. Your chance is here. Your opportunity is here. The biggest, most viewed college football broadcast in America is coming to your house this Saturday to put your culture on display. And you're either going to get it right, and the fairgrounds or wherever they're going to set up the broadcast are going to be friggin' packed to the gills. and you're going to look like $1 million like the Cornhuskers did last Saturday night, or it's just going to be another game. And people are going to tune in and they're going to go, okay, but why is game day in there? Why is game day? Why isn't game day where's Alabama, Wisconsin? It's in Madison, I believe. Why aren't they up in Madison, Wisconsin, where the Badgers and the Tide are going at it? Why aren't they at a bigger school? Why aren't they at a bigger spot, right? South Carolina's unranked. LSU's ranked, but they're 1-1. This isn't a matchup of two national championship contenders. It's a fringe playoff team and a team that was expected to be fighting for bowl eligibility, but they went to Kentucky. They got a big win, upset win on the road, almost a 2-point dog, and you got it done. The nation is going to tune in and go, why the hell are they in Columbia, South Carolina today? And you get to either answer that question by putting on a whole damn display that makes the country go, oh, that's why they're in Columbia, South Carolina. Or you don't turn up. You have just another game. You're just another school that caught game day for a day, very fortunately, and you just get glanced over. And it's your call. It's your call, Gamecocks. Which of those two things becomes true?
Come on. You actually think they're not going to show up?
I have no doubt it's going to be a freaking riot.
I mean, yeah, it always is, and it definitely will be with them coming to town.
But I don't think, to me, if you just have a good game day showing, good crowd, right? I'm in a band. You got crowds, you got good crowds, and then you got electricity.
You do know they've been there before. And
I am aware.
And what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to watch the signs, because the signs, some of which will not make it on TV.
Good. Stir some controversy. Stir the pot. I know they've been here. I know you've done it. I'm telling you, this is the most important game day you've ever had. Next game day is always the most important game day. But this is it. Because right now, when you were trying to get that upward trajectory going, and after the Kentucky win, it feels like you got it. This is your chance to put eyeballs of America on you and to make them go, damn, they ain't playing in Columbia, which will attract future talent. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Urban.
All right, guys, we're a quick read and we're back. Joe, Mike, good morning, guys. Stay right there for me. We'll be right back. it up with red wine, and I'll be chewing on a honeysuckle vine. Bow, bow. All right, good morning, everybody. Joe, what's up, buddy? McAfee's definitely got his own vibe going. Has been wearing sleeves. I haven't really seen the sleeveless breakout too often lately.
It's fall.
It is fall. That's true. It's getting chilly.
He's
outside.
going to not this Saturday, but he's going to probably cooler places.
Can't wait till they send him to North Dakota in December.
He lives in Indy. He's fine. He knows what snow is.
He does live in Indy. That's fair. Speaking of Indy, Hayden S. Mario joined the show at 9 o'clock. I missed him last week. I forgot because I'm a bad friend. But he was also launching multiple other shows, so he was occupied.
There's where McCaffrey got hurt because he chose wooden floors over carpet. Caused tendonitis in his Achilles.
Also, how about the Madden curse striking in week 1? Woof. So, real short segment here, but I do think it is important to say this, or at least it feels that way to me. We love sports. Sports and the way that we love sports is something to me that is uniquely American. Sports are something that are celebrated around the globe, around the planet, no doubt about it. But to me, there is something in the way that we love the sports we love and how we love them that is uniquely American.
Usually lack of murder.
It's a big part of it.
Okay.
Well, the Raiders exist.
Yeah, but I don't remember anyone dying.
There's been a couple.
Has there?
There's been. It's
okay.
not like it is
All right.
down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where we
Okay.
send NFL teams. But yeah,
All
there's
right.
there's been a couple. But I'm gonna choose, for the sake of the conversation now, to focus on the positive, the college game days of the world. All right. There is something in the way that we love sports. Loving sports, I think, is a worldwide phenomenon. Loving competition is something that I think is like music or food. Something that, although we enjoy those things in different ways, I think is something that is, for the most part, universal amongst Homo sapiens. But the way that we love sports, there's something uniquely American about it. And I think this, of all days, is a day to point that out and to celebrate that. I think this, of all days, September 11th, as we look back at what happened 23 years ago today, I think it is important to take just a minute, and as we talk football and baseball and basketball and NASCAR and all the things that we love here on this show and here on shows you'll listen to on this station throughout the rest of the day, I think it is important to take a moment and reflect on how incredibly fortunate we are that we have the opportunities that we have to do goofy things, like care so much about sports that Lonzo and I get paid a lot of money to come in here and talk about them into microphones. And that you guys love sports so much that there are entire broadcast outlets propped up just to talk about sports. Something that, if you really sit down and think about it, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter at all. But it matters a lot to us. And for me, when I go back to 2001, I was a sophomore in high school. I was also the sports editor of my high school newspaper. And when 9/11 happened, obviously, I was sitting and you know, I know we get into the cliche of like, oh, you'll never forget where you were when it happened. And I won't. Miss Grady's algebra class, 10th grade, sitting at a table with the rest of the football players because we were obnoxious. Matt Tenor, Jake Zebanewski, and some others. And our principal, Richard Bounds, came over the PA and was like, teachers, please turn on your news channels.
To Zebanewski, by the way.
Zebanewski, you want to guess where he played on the football team?
Linebacker?
Offensive line, dude.
Okay,
His name
all
was
right.
Zebanewski.
Okay, well, I mean, you know.
So we're sitting at
I
the table.
thought he had a smaller build, so they had to put him
Oh, no,
at
he was
linebacker.
the biggest SOB you've ever seen in high school. Do you remember Varsity Blues?
Everyone remembers Varsity Blues.
You remember, I forget the character's name, but you remember the ribbit? That was Jake
The
Zebanewski.
dude with the shotgun
Yeah.
out in the field also
Yeah.
got a concussion
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
That
I
was
don't remember
Jake.
his name either.
That was literally Jake Zeb. He was
Asked
that
the
big.
stripper teacher
Yep.
to the
That was
prom.
Jake.
Yeah, okay.
Jake, good guy. That was him. So we were sitting there, and Richard Bounds comes on the PA, and teachers, please turn on your televisions to the news channels, because by that point they have figured out what was going on. And we sat there and watched it, flabbergasted as everybody did. And we got to the end of the week, and there were questions about, should we be playing high school football? Should we be gathering? Should we be getting together? Should we be doing anything right now, or should we all be mourning in time? And I wrote an article, an editorial in our school paper, where I said what I believe now. The people who did this to interrupt us doing the things that we love the way that we love to do them. And I feel like if we cancel football on Fridays, which is a huge deal in the community, certainly in the community I was from, I know it is in the communities around here as well. I feel like that's kind of giving them what they want. We got to play. We got to play, because there is nothing more uniquely American than Friday Night Lights. Than bringing two schools from two communities together to get on a football field and play, and let the people from one town wearing green and white and the people from the other town wearing maroon and cream scream at each other how their city's football team is better. And Richard Bounds called me into the office and went, You've convinced me. We're playing football this Friday night. The principal from the other school, Niceville High School, the principal there, Cindy Mazzarelli, she called me, said, I read your editorial. We're playing football. And that night, on a Friday night in 2001, my high school, Choctawhatchee High School, and their high school, Niceville High School, stood on a football field together. And they had both teams meet at midfield. They had both bands mixed together and play the national anthem, facing the crowd, half the band facing the home, half the band facing the away. And I have more memories of that night than I do the morning it happened. I have more memories of that football contest, the band, the teams, the game itself. I don't even know who won. Don't remember that. But I remember everything that happened all night long more than I remember the day that it happened. That day in 2001, the world changed. We know that. We're still dealing with the ramifications of it. We are still dealing with the impact of how the world changed that day. We still feel it. You go to the airport and you got to take your stupid shoes off. We still feel it. We still feel it in the way that we discussed national security. All of a sudden, terrorism wasn't just something that happened in the Middle East. It was now something that could happen to any one of us any day. It became real. But to me, the premise of all of it was disrupt us from doing what we do, the way we do it, the way we love to do it. And sports to me might be the best illustration of the things that make it uniquely American. The things that make us uniquely American. The things that we love to share with each other as Americans. So we can all yell at each other and, your team sucks. No, your team sucks. Your coach is dumb. Your coach is a clown. That's all well and good. But even though we're getting after it and getting after each other, we are still sharing an experience from different angles, different teams, different colors that we wear on game day. But we're all sharing the experience. And I think today, of all days, is a wonderful day for us to reflect on that. I think today is a day to evaluate who and what we are as Americans and who and what we are as American sports fans. I think today is a wonderful day to reflect on the positives that sports brings into our lives as Americans. I think today is a wonderful day for us to reflect on all the good, whether it's memories or emotions that we have because of sports. And to me, to dial in on that angle of it, to dial in on taking a few minutes to reflect on things that we love as a part of this American experience. And for us, obviously, on this show, in this station, sports are the biggest one. For us to take a minute to dive in, to reflect, to think about those things, I think is important. And I think it is an opportunity for all of us to truly celebrate how lucky we are to be here, how lucky it is that was an anomaly, that was an exception, not the rule, and that there are people who are willing to put their lives and asses on the line so that we can get up at 6 a.m. and yell about our football teams and have a ball doing it. And for just a little while, escape everything else that's going on in the world. So I encourage you today, on this day, September 11th, 2024, to reflect on that day, September 11th, 2001. And to do so with a sense of optimism, with a sense of hope, with a sense of the future, and with a sense of appreciation for all the things that we know and all the things that we love and all the things that matter to us as Americans. And I don't think there's a better illustration of that than sports. So with that in mind, we're going to do a regular show today. We're going to have fun on the show today. We're going to keep it upbeat. We're going to keep it light. We're going to have a ball. Rob Alonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. What a jazzy little background song that was. Zach Stover. Yeah, my pleasure, man. I like I said, meant every single word of it. Derek Brown out for the season for the Carolina Panthers. That one is official. That news broke yesterday. They went in to check the knee injury that he suffered during the 47-10 blowout L on the road down in New Orleans, Louisiana. Derek Brown had the knee checked out. They decided that the damage was bad enough that the Pro Bowler, who had 103 tackles last year, set the NFL record for most tackles by a defensive lineman. This number blew my mind. Derek Brown was responsible for 12.5% of the tackle total for the Carolina Panthers last year. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous number for a defensive tackle, by the way. We're not talking about an edge guy. We're not talking about a weak or strong side linebacker. We're talking about a defensive tackle who was responsible for 12.5% of the team's entire net total of tackles. I mean, if you're a casual and that number didn't ring to you, I really don't know how to explain it to you. That over 1 out of every 10 tackles was made by a defensive tackle. Out of a 3-4 set, by the way. The entire premise of a 3-4 set, like Evero runs, the entire premise of a 3-4 set is to create a world in which your defensive linemen eat up multiple blocks. And it gives you another linebacker back there that can read and react and run off of that. So in a 3-4 set, and I know the Panthers don't run a 3-4 exclusively, but they run it primarily. In a 3-4 set where Derek Brown is designed, the position he's designed to play is to eat up blocks and free up linebackers to react to the football, for him to make 12.5% of the total tackles on that defense is what? So for the Panthers to lose him is a massive blow. A massive blow. Now, let's take it one step further. If you're going to lose him for a year, this is the year to lose him. Okay? Because again, I absolutely have optimism that Carolina is going to record dramatically more wins this year than they did last year. I grabbed the over-under win total when it was at 4.5. And I'm not the only one who thought that, because after the initial round of bets on NFL over-under win totals came in, Carolina got jumped from 4.5 up to 5.5. That means that the public money came in heavy on the Panthers to get over 4.5 wins. I still feel good about that bet and moved up to 5.5 wins, and still was juiced to the over, meaning that the majority of the money and the bets were still coming in on the over, meaning that the majority of people in Vegas who were putting money on these bets believe that Carolina's getting to 6 wins this year. I know that some of you are disheartened after the performance from this weekend. I get that. I would be lying to tell you that I wasn't a little bit as well. Of course I was. Bryce Young doesn't look like he's much, if at all, better than last year. I thought Dave Canales, there were some spots in that game where he looked a little hesitant, a little tentative. Why wouldn't he? First-year head coach, second-year play caller, first-year play caller with his team. As I mentioned multiple times back on Monday, I got a new offensive line. 2 new guys added to it. 1 moved to a new position. 3 out of 5 of my linemen are in a different spot last year than they were, or this year than they were last year. My wide receiver core. I got a new number 1. My number 1 from last year is now number 3. The number 2 this year was our number 4 last year, and the number 4 this year was a combination of guys that weren't on the team last year. New wide receiver core that have got to figure out their chemistry with BY. What we were hoping this team was going to be able to lean on was that defense. What we were hoping this team was going to lean on was the defensive backs being healthy this year. What we were hoping this team was going to lean on was Shaq Barrett is back. The linebacker core is going to be comfortable this year. What we were hoping we were going to lean on was Derek Brown just eating it up in the middle and that defensive line being consistent. Now, if you came into the year expecting Carolina's defense to be, world class, I think you set yourself up for disappointment from the very beginning. If you expected them to be world class, I think it is, as my good friend and Saturday co-host Cody Decker would say, if you believe in the Jets and they disappoint you again, it's a little bit your fault. At some point, you got to stop falling for it, okay? Now, I don't think the Panthers are taking advantage of anybody. I just think at the end of the day, you could only work on fixing the offense or the defense, and they obviously leaned on fixing the offense, and I don't have an issue with that. So, I never thought that this defense was going to come in this year and was going to be remarkable. I thought it'd be better. I thought it'd be improved, and it still might. I'm going to say this. I rewatched yesterday. I had to take my car back to the shop yesterday. Just a little, cleanup maintenance. Check engine light came on. Just wanted to go make sure it was all good. Ended up sitting in the mechanic's office for 3.5 hours yesterday. And I appreciate the hard work they did. They did phenomenally hard work. There was a couple of things they had to clean up, and they were phenomenal in doing it. And I appreciate it if they're listening. But I was in there for 3.5 hours. You know what I did great? When I pulled the laptop out, I sat down at a table and I watched a replay of Carolina, New Orleans on the NFL Plus All 22 cam, right? All 22 cam replays on NFL Plus. This is not a paid endorsement. I'm just telling you what I do. It gives you 2 angles of every play. It gives you an all 22 from the side, then it gives you an all 22 from behind the line of scrimmage. I watched every play from that game in both all 22 cams. You know who was the most disappointing player on the football field for me on Sunday? J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn got cooked repeatedly. Was getting taken out of plays by blockers. That touchdown to Raheem Shaheed, the one that set the tone, the first drive, the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr threw, what was it, like a 82-yard touchdown pass to Shaheed down the middle. It's because J.C. Horn got completely turned around, just lost in the sauce, and Shaheed beat him.
So it had nothing to do with the skill of the quarterback and the ability to see that that receiver was going to be open.
No, it did. I mean, Derek Carr he's a future first ballot Hall of Famer for a reason. But at the same time, I'm going to go 32 out of 32 quarterbacks could have completed that pass. My man was 12 yards by himself deep.
I don't know. I could think of one who couldn't.
31 out of 32 quarterbacks could have completed. Anthony Richardson could have completed that pass. C.J. Stroud could have completed that pass. I do think Bryce Young could have completed that pass. He was that butt naked wide open. All right. I think I could have completed that pass.
Maybe if he was 12 yards deep.
Point here is there's a lot more that's wrong. So the loss of Derek Brown stings a lot because, especially in a division where you got Kirk Cousins. Do you think Kirk Cousins is going to be as bad in week 2 as he was in week 1? I do not. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to light the world on fire, but I don't think he's going to be as bad in week 2 as he was week 1. Baker Mayfield looks like a freaking stud. Baker Mayfield looks like he heard everything I had to say about him during the offseason and was like, yo, Rob Brown, I'm running it back to the Pro Bowl this year. Again, it's 1 week. Let's not overreact too much. But the point here is, and obviously, as you've already played, future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr with the New Orleans Saints. This is a division that's got some quarterbacks in it that can beat you. This is a division that's got some streaky, quick wide receivers in it. If you don't have Derek Brown hustling up quarterbacks, and I've got a defensive backfield like J.C. Horn, who was getting absolutely cooked by defenders in this game, the defense is going to stink. And if the defense stinks, the good news, I guess, is that the offense is going to get a lot of practice with extra possessions.
Yeah, well, the defense already stunk and hasn't really been that good in a couple of years. So it really stinks that the best defensive player is out for the season.
It does. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Not going to push back on that. Especially, like we said, in a division where every team's got at least one wide receiver who is a primary threat and a quarterback that is at least a threat. In Baker, in Kirk Cousins / Michael Penix Jr., and in future first ballot Hall of Famer Derek Carr. So this is a big loss. And anybody who's saying it's not a big loss is wrong. It's an enormous loss. It is the biggest loss of a defensive player in the NFL so far this season. Okay? But again, you knew that you needed to know. If you didn't know, allow me to tell you now, the defense was bad last year. The defense was going to be bad again this year because even with the couple of additions that you made at the end of the day, you could only fix one thing or the other, offense or defense. And they leaned into fixing the offense. And I'm glad they did, but they leaned into fixing the offense. And in doing so, they had to sacrifice the defense. This is still a big blow. But to me, if the Panthers are going to get to that over-under win total, for me it's 4.5. For many of you, it's 5.5. If they're going to get there, they're going to have to score points in bunches. They're going to have to be winning games like 35-28, 42-37. They're going to have to win high-scoring shootout games. It is going to put pressure to me, not on the defense. Because I'll keep it a buck with you. I don't think there was pressure on the defense coming into this year. I mean, sure, pressure to perform, maybe pressure to help Evero not go bleep this, I'm out at the end of next year. But there wasn't as much pressure on them as there is on the offense. Now there is more because if the Panthers are going to win games, they're going to have to win games with bunches of points for a team that put up 10 in week 1 on the road against an average Saints team. Not great, Bob.
I'm not sure Evero will be there next year anyway, because the defense has been declining since he's been there. And I know you and Rashad are big on him. I am not. It's the one coach I believe that they retained. And so someone at the end of the year will have to be not the scapegoat, but someone will have to go to show change even after one season. If he makes it through is it possible that they would fire a coach again in the middle of the season?
No, Evero's not getting fired.
I'm not talking about him.
Oh, Canales?
Let
me say this right now. No, absolutely not. Hell no. Hell to the no. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
but I'm going to tell you,
dude, because I mean, we've already seen it. We've already seen it.
The answer is no. And if for no other reason, then
if he has a worse record than
still no
Matt Rule,
still no. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, okay,
I'll tell you why the answer is no. If for no other reason, then finally this offseason, Dave Tepper realized that his image is one big steaming hot pile of dog, and he knows it. And it's to the point now where the NFL owners will eventually step in. They will. They try not to, but they eventually will step in if they feel the product is being denigrated. And right now the Panthers denigrate the product. So he knows his reputation right now is well, I got a clip for it. Where is it? His reputation?
It's a complete crap
Right now. And he knows it. And firing another head coach, especially a first-year rookie head coach given his first job midseason, would be the worst decision he's made in a string of bad decisions. So no. You'd be more likely to see Evero fired. But I don't think anybody's getting canned. I think everybody is getting to ride this. I think, again, what did Dave Tepper have to say about the loss this weekend? You don't know because he didn't say anything, which is rare for him. So I believe he understands where he's at. I don't think there's any changes coming to the coaching staff this year. We'll talk more about it later on because McAfee had some more things to say about the Cats that I've been saying for a while now. It's also been a while now that Lonzo wants to read the Sports Flash. So let's do that now.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. The Atlanta Braves beat the Nationals 12-0 yesterday, recording 15 hits and 4 home runs in the process. With the win, Atlanta is tied with the Mets for the final wildcard spot. It's a spat. The NFL announced it is investigating the most recent allegations of sexual harassment and assault levied against Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. League spokesperson Brian McCarthy said the league is evaluating the claims under the personal conduct policy, though Deshaun could face more time on the commissioner's exempt list if charges are formally brought against him. And make sure you tune in this Saturday at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Stetson Hatters. Yes, they're Hatters. I don't know, man. I still don't know. It's Furman versus Stetson right here on your home for Paladins football. The Fan, Upstate.
I know it's old, but Marshawn walking around downtown New Orleans apologizing for the Beastquake run is one of the greatest things that's ever been put on film.
Join me, Teaser, every week at Dave & Buster's at 1025 Woodruff Road in Greenville, 2 hours before every Carolina Panthers game, all season long. Cold beer, great food, tons of TVs, and Carolina Panthers football. Every game, every week at Dave & Buster's.
Hi, welcome to Staples. Hi, I hear Staples can print everything for my business. Sure can. And the quality is guaranteed. Absolutely. Plus, you'll beat any price quote. Is that right? For sure. How about this one? You'll beat it. Can you print new signs and flyers? Sure can. How about blueprints? No problem. What about red prints? If they work, we print them, and they look amazing.
Now at Staples, print more, save more. Up to $150 off your print purchase. Ends 11/2. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details and staples.com/price match for in-store price match guarantee.
Wake up.
Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin supplement product. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Okay, listen, we're gonna get to the water cooler cheat sheet here in just a minute. Have to, okay? That's the thing we do here. But we have a Lonzo, you're gonna love it. We have a Twitter controversy that must be addressed. There's a Twitter account that has popped up. No banner, no profile picture, no nothing to it. The Twitter account is at Leroy Bickers 4. Okay? At Leroy Bickers 4. The name attached to the account is Leroy Bickerstaff. This account was created on September 8th, 2024. That is, if you are keeping track with a calendar, that's this past Sunday. You know what was this past Sunday? NFL Week 1. Full Sunday, first full Sunday. NFL Week 1, in which the Cleveland Browns played. Here's the controversy. The account in question here has begun responding to tweets and has been doing so since Sunday, September 8th. The first tweet in question that was sent out at 7:51 p.m. Why am I telling you this? Hold tight. You'll get it here in a minute. 7:51 p.m., of course, was well after the conclusion of the Cleveland Browns game against the Dallas Cowboys, a game in which the Browns got absolutely smoked, and a game in which Deshaun Watson had, I would argue, perhaps, fair to say, his worst game as a professional football player.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, since then, let me read you. I'm not going to read you every tweet, but pretty close to it. At AR1122010 tweeted, Deshaun Watson still sinks. What a surprise. Leroy Bickerstaff responded, someone ain't watched the game. Line gives him no time in the pocket and no chance to make plays. At Pickettsburg8, tweeted out a picture of Deshaun Watson with a 3-letter word for the buttocks plastered across the front of it. The Leroy Bickerstaff account retweeted it with, what's but not was the play calling trying to make him play in a system he's not comfortable in. The tweet before that, Nate Brown tweeted, bench Deshaun or you're unserious about winning. The tweet where the reply was, high school state chip in college natty says otherwise. Sorry, franchise making one of the all-time greats look bad. Hoodie Garland tweeted, Deshaun Watson needs to go. Leroy Bickerstaff. All these tweets, by the way, in order they were sent out, and only these tweets were sent out. Leroy Bickerstaff responded, no protection. Sorry, play calling. Deshaun did all he could today. He's the furthest thing from the problem. At Isaac Okoro fan tweeted, cut Deshaun. Leroy Bickerstaff responded, Ford does nothing but put his blood, sweat, and tears into this team, and this how y'all treat him. I see why Braun left twice. Ford got to get out of town and continue greatness somewhere else. Before that, at Optify, tweeted Deshaun Watson's career is over. Leroy Bickerstaff responded, coach is ruining the career of one of the best athletes of this generation. M. Shiesty tweeted, wow, Watson sucks. Bickerstaff responded, like you could do better. Shut up, you sitting on the couch all day. At Tom Y tweeted, meanwhile, Baker hangs 37 on Washington. Leroy said, crazy what a quarterback can do when the line blocks and the coach calls good plays. At Vestige V47 tweeted, get rid of Watson. Leroy responded, fool, you don't know what he goes through. Worked his ass off just to be able to play this weekend. Battled through a broke shoulder for this franchise last time we seen him. My favorite part. Cleveland Browns put up a halftime graphic when the boys were up 20-3 at the half. At Goop Sauce tweeted, all right, Deshaun, get your ass off Twitter and get in the film room, or does Newsom have a table at Barley's for you tonight? I'm assuming that's a bar. Deshaun responded, you don't know me, fool. Go make me a frozen meal, end quote. There were about 40 other tweets.
Wait, you said Deshaun responded.
I mean, sorry, Leroy responded. He went on to say, if Four had, this one not a reply to anybody, on Monday morning, just tweeted, if Four had a tackle like Trent Williams, he'd be able to show his greatness. Four can't succeed when he's got no chance back there. There's about 40 tweets that this account sent out, all of them exclusively defending Deshaun Watson. And so now Twitter has been sicked on the at Leroy Bickers 4 account with the belief, somebody hand me my tinfoil cap. I choose to, I, like Mully, want to believe. Somebody believes that Deshaun Watson is out here Kevin Duranting on the internet. That somebody is out here with a burner account defending himself and only himself on Twitter. And this is a story that we would have laughed at.
Mully.
Was it
Smolder and Scully?
Well, that's the comment. That's their relationship name.
So you did the stand thing.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the relationship name. They're like Benifer.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
Benifer and Mully, the two greatest American power couples of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Traveler. Tavis? Swiftsea? Kelsift? Whatever. It's like them.
Sounds really lazy to me. It's just 2 words. It's only take you a few more. I mean, not even a second.
Yeah, but it's a sentiment. It's a sentiment
okay,
behind it.
I'm just making sure that
it's
that
like
was
Benifer.
on purpose.
Ben and Jennifer is actually shorter than,
okay.
It's the same length as Benifer.
All right. So you dwell in 2 communities. One of them is pretty angry if you actually screwed that up.
I'm a pop culture icon. All right. You know what I am. I'm an influencer, pop culture icon. Point here is, this is a story that a handful of years ago, we would have all been like, this is so freaking stupid. And now, thanks to Kevin Durant, I immediately go, yeah, that's definitely Deshaun.
See, I thought it was Kevin Durant.
Deshaun out there getting defended by another KD burner account.
Which would make it funnier to me if it was actually Kevin Durant doing it.
The Browns put out a video clip 40 seconds long of Jerome Ford defending Deshaun Watson, and Leroy Bickerstaff responded, Ford got the respect of his teammates, and that's all that matters. Nobody cares what the fools on this app got to say about a man they don't know. See, my favorite part of that is that Leroy Bickerstaff make it sound like he do know Ford. Like he got the respect of his team. I do know Ford. Y'all don't know Ford. I love that. In my mind, in my brain, Deshaun 1000% got knocked in that game, went home that day, that afternoon, not even like into the night, that afternoon, before the next game even kicked off. My man went home, grabbed his iPhone, popped on Twitter, clicked the create new account button, and went to war for himself Incredible.
I don't want my algorithm making this guy show up, so I'm not going to look for it.
It's worth the lulz, dude.
Is there any orange anywhere in his profile?
There is nothing on his profile.
Okay, I'm just
all right.
Just curious.
So for those of you that aren't on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, you get 3 ways to personalize your account. 4 if you include your Twitter handle. You get your Twitter handle. You get a Twitter name. You can put anything in there that you want. For instance, my Twitter name right now is Coach Rob Brown. Then you get a bio. Underneath in your bio, you can write something about yourself. For instance, my bio reads, 3-time South Carolina Sports Talk Show of the Year host, BetQL nationally syndicated host, unapologetic fan of professional wrestling, life's more fun as the heel, I know ball. That's my bio. All right. You get to personalize it. And then you get 2 pictures. You get a header, which is a big picture at the top of your profile page. And you get an avatar, which is a little circle that shows up next to your tweet in people's timeline. There is nothing on any of those things. It is a completely blank profile that has done nothing but responded to about 40 tweets talking about Deshaun Watson and only about Deshaun Watson. Nothing else. There's nothing defending the Browns. There's nothing defending Kevin Stefanski. There's nothing defending the offense. There's nothing defending the defense. There's nothing defending the franchise, the organization. He responded to about 40 tweets solely, only, exclusively about Deshaun Watson, referring to Deshaun Watson only as for over and over and over again. This dude, in my belief, I won't say opinion, in my belief, this dude got knocked around by the Cowboys, went home, Kevin Duranted by clicking that create new profile button, made the @Libra. And by the way, if you're at home trying to real quick come up and you go to Chat GPT and you type in, give me a fake name to use as an online character, Leroy Bickerstaff is absolutely a fake name Chat GPT is suggesting to you.
It sounds like a familiar character from a movie. It really does.
I just, here you go. I just asked Chat GPT to give me 10 fake names to use online. Here's the 10 it came up with. Tell me if Leroy Bickerstaff fits on this list. Number 10, Isla Bright. Number 9, Cole Westbrook. Number 8.
Wait a minute, Cole?
Cole Westbrook.
Okay.
Cole's AI. We know Cole's AI now. Number 8, Zara Moon. Number 7, Aiden Frost. These are like D&D names. Number 6, Lila Evergreen. Number 5, Finn Harper. Number 4, Nova Sterling. Number 3, Jackson with an X Ryder. That's my new stage name. Jackson with an X Ryder. That's my new name. Number 2, Elara Quinn. And number 1, Max Stonefeld. These are 10 D&D names. All right. Leroy Bickerstaff is 100% like a retired wizard who lives in Winterfell. You know, he's like making his career by doing magic tricks at kids' birthday parties, and then the adventuring party finds him because they need his help in slaying a dragon that's susceptible to magic. So they got to go get old Leroy Bickerstaff, who, of course, as a wizard, carries around a wicker staff. So he goes by Leroy Bickerstaff. Deshaun 1,050% went home and Kevin Duranted on his iPhone that night. This is incredible that we have watched this guy win a state title in high school, win a natty at Clemson, go to Houston, be declared him of the future. This guy was going to be him of the future. And instead made a bunch of decisions that have led to him jumping online and creating a fake Twitter profile named Leroy Bickerstaff to defend himself and only himself from very valid criticism, very justified criticism. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. What a story. What a story. Lonzo, you in on this is 100% Deshaun Watson, or are you going to stay with this is Kevin Durant doing his best Deshaun Watson impersonation to get himself off the hook as the go-to athlete for burner accounts?
Well, you can't prove me wrong, so I'm going with Kevin Durant.
I'm for it. I like taking the conspiracy one step further that Kevin Durant created a Deshaun Watson burner on behalf of Deshaun so that in the future, because right now, when you say the words burner account, if you're even if you're sports adjacent, if you say the word burner account, you auto go to Kevin Durant, right? Like I call it a Durant account. I'm going to create a Durant account today. I know. I'm gonna give you a secret right now. There are radio show hosts that I know of personally who create Durant accounts to attack their main accounts on Twitter so that they can then react to that and drum up controversy. That is a shtick. It's a gimmick. I get it. I don't think Durant was doing it as a gimmick. He genuinely was trying to make his ego feel better. Remember, he attacked himself on Twitter.
We appreciate you not naming names with that.
Oh, for sure. I'm not going to do that. Just know that there are certain radio hosts out there that make things up on the radio and lie about things on the radio in order to get attention online.
Your eyes are freaky. Don't do that again.
I made my screen blurry too. But if it was dramatic, right? It was dramatic. It worked. It was like the Jim Halpert
I
moment.
think it might be proof that you're an alien or AI. If your eyes, dude, you go back and look at that. You'll freak yourself out.
Point here is 100% there are people who do this. And then there are people who have such a sensitive ego. By the way, Deshaun, ain't a damn thing happening to you. That ain't your fault, bud. Everything happening to you is your fault. All the things you did that got you run up out of H-Town where you would have been a career Texan and a hero. They would have celebrated you in H-Town till you died. And probably after, if you would have just dialed in, been a great NFL quarterback, which, by the way, before all this stuff happened, Deshaun was really good. That's why the Browns gave him like $250 million guaranteed, right? But you decided to act like an idiot. You decided
Way to go,
to be a
Cleveland.
predator.
Keep on being Cleveland.
Yeah, honestly. And then on top of all of that, when it was time to leave Houston because they didn't want your ass no more, and who could blame them, you picked Cleveland to go to. There were other teams who wanted you, and you picked Cleveland. Now, here's my favorite thing going, and then I'll shut the hell up because we got to get to the water cooler cheat sheet. Okay? Here's my favorite part about it. Deshaun Watson's contract where he got $250 million guaranteed, Lonzo, it's for 6 years. You think Deshaun Watson's going to be a dude in 6 years from now? No. And that contract's fully guaranteed. You know what my favorite part about all this is? Deshaun's got exactly and precisely zero incentive to try. He's already got $250 million. They have to give it to him. It's signed. Even if he never plays another snap, they have to give it to him. He has zero reason to
try.
try.
His contract is null and void because he didn't disclose another lawsuit.
Now, that's a different story. That's a different story. If they knew it, him and his agent knew about this, and it ends up being a lawsuit, and he never told the Browns about it, the Browns can invalidate the contract, and Deshaun Watson's gone, and the Browns can move on. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? The Browns got like 5 suits on the ground in Houston, Texas right now trying to dig up if Deshaun and his agent knew about this before he signed that deal.
Or they had it in their back pocket and they saw how he performed.
Might not be unfair. Might not be unfair. All right. We'll talk more about it. Texas said people don't create fake accounts, bro. Also, only 3-time champs. What losers? Why not 4? Reasons. Don't worry about it. We're getting 4 this year. Oh, back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming back. Y'all stay right there. Foamy. Jackson with an X Rider. What a name.
Hi, this is Cole with Wire to Wire, and this is Diesel. We'll be live today from 3 to 7 at Eagle Parkins at 8004 Warren 8 Abernathy Highway in Spartanburg. Stop by and say hi. We'll also be giving away a $25 Ingles gift card.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Granger. Granger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them. With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures. It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Affordable, reliable.
What's better than watching your team win? Winning money while you do it. I'm Jim Costa, and I'll cash the ticket. Mike Maloney and I give you the edge to make every
It's Deshaun's mom. I'm good with that as a theory, Keegan. I'm good with that as a theory. The most helicopter mom of all time.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers presents the East Coast Construction and Transportation Auction in Pelzer on September 19th, featuring construction equipment, trucks, and more. Bid your way live on site or online at Jeff Martin Auctioneers.
Is there anything you can't answer the question for me. I can answer the question. The answer is no. Is there anything you're more disconnected to than high fashion shows? You ever watched a high fashion show and been like, I get it?
The only fashion show I've ever cared about is the one I was in, and that's it.
Give me your best look. What was your best look?
I came out doing Vince McMahon, but my suit was too tight and I couldn't breathe after that. And everyone,
like you did
then everyone was taking pictures, and I just didn't want to fall.
Did you Travis Kelce your shirt? Sorry, Jason Kelce your shirt?
No, I lost a lot of weight. That's what it was about.
All right, I couldn't not do a Deshaun Watson Twitter conspiracy. That's the best thing I've heard today. But we do have other stuff we need to talk about. And you are now closer to work than you usually are when we do this part of the show. So let's dive right in. We, ladies and gentlemen, have to talk about the top 3 sports stories you need to know about before you get to the office and start talking sports. You, ladies and gentlemen, need the water cooler cheat sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
most impressive.
Before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports. This morning, this is what you will be talking about. Let's dive right into item numero uno. Good news. The Bats woke up for the Atlanta Braves last night in a 12-0 shutout win over the DC Nationals. 15 hits, including 4 home runs. Orlando Arcia had one. Sean Murphy stepping in for Travis d'Arnaud, who was out on paternity leave yesterday. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. d'Arnaud on the birth of their and brand new bouncing baby. Sean Murphy stepped in and honored old T-Rav with a shot and a pair of home runs out of the leadoff position for Michael Harris II. 4 dongs for the Atlanta Braves, 15 hits in total. They also walked 4 times, struck out only 8 on the day. Held the Nationals to just 3 hits on the night. One of them surrendered by Reynaldo Lopez, one of them from Jesse Chavez, one of them from Luke Jackson. That's the good news. There's more good news. The more good news about that is that with the win last night and a Mets loss last night to the Toronto Blue Jays, the Atlanta Braves are now back in a wild card position. Granted, they are tied with the New York Mets for the 3rd wild card spot, but keep in mind that as the Atlanta Braves get themselves set for a 4-game set, they got one more with the Nats on the road today in the nation's capital. Then the Bravos immediately start a 4-game set against the LA Dodgers. This one in Atlanta. They are off on Thursday. And then a 4-game set Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday against the LA Dodgers. At the same time that the Bravos are setting up for that 4-game set with the NL's best, the Mets have one more game against Toronto, a team they lost to last night 6-2. Chris Bassett took the loss. Got the win. Peterson took the loss, just his second on the year. They've got one more with Toronto today, and then they are off tomorrow. Then they start a 3-game set on the road against Philadelphia. Atlanta must win 1 against the Dodgers, and then in the other 3 must do whatever the Mets do against the Phillies in their 3-game set. I firmly believe that if the Bravos come out of this series against the Dodgers within 1 game of the New York Mets, whether they're up, tied, or down, if the Bravos come out of this 3-game set against the Dodgers within 1 game of the 4 that the Mets play, 1 at Toronto and 3 against Philly, Atlanta's still got a good shot at the wild card. Remember, as of yesterday, ESPN's playoff predictor gave the Bravos a 62% chance to make the playoffs. The Mets a 59% chance to make the playoffs. If they're within a game after these 4, 1 against Toronto, 3 against Philly for New York, 4 against the Dodgers for Atlanta, they got a shot. The Mets end up after that with a 3-game set against Washington and then another 4-game set against Philly, this one in New York. The good news for Atlanta on their schedule is after the 4-game set against the Dodgers, they're on the road for 3 against Cincinnati. Not a great team, although they have been a bugaboo for Atlanta this year. Then they've got 3 at Miami. As long as the Braves are within a game, the next 6, the Braves have the easier path to build a lead up to a game or 2 before these 2 teams get together in Atlanta for a 3-game set at the end of the month. The Bravos will wrap up their season with a 3-game set against the Royals, who are an AL wildcard team. The Mets will end on the road at Milwaukee, who do lead the NL Central. So the Braves do have an easier path to the end of the season than the Mets. And the bats came alive. Can they keep them that way? Item number 2. Yesterday, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association, Adam Silver, did a little press conference, and this happened.
You said previously that you believe the expansion process would begin in earnest in the fall. It's not quite fall, but was there further discussion during this meeting about an expansion committee that you alluded to, who may serve on that, how that may work going forward?
Chris, there was not a lot of discussion in this meeting about expansion, but only largely because, not for lack of interest, it was that we had said to them that we're not quite ready. And I appreciate your pointing out that it's kind of not quite, it might technically, is it fall yet? I don't know, maybe not yet, but it's feeling a little bit chillier in New York. So we're getting close to fall, but that it was something that we told our board we plan to address this season. We're not quite ready yet, but I think that there's certainly interest in the process. And I think that we're not there yet in terms of having made any specific decisions about markets or even frankly to expand. I mean, I know I've said this before. I think over time organizations should grow. It is appropriate, but it gets a bit complicated in terms of selling equity in the league, what that means for the existing television relationships, et cetera. And what we've told interested parties is, thank you for your interest. We'll be back to you. And that's certainly the case in Seattle as well.
That's Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, saying that the NBA has not had so far this offseason legitimate conversation about the potential expansion of the league, but that it is an idea that is being kicked around right now. Said that there is not only interest in the conversation right now, but there are thoughts about what will need to happen, and what will need to happen. That obviously includes, as he mentioned, those TV relationships, selling equity in the league, finding the correct franchise location for expansion, finding the correct ownership group, et cetera, et cetera. A lot needs to happen. But when a commissioner starts saying things like this, when a commissioner starts talking about a process like expansion, expansion is happening, ladies and gentlemen. You can go ahead and mark that down. The league, probably not in the next 2 or 3 years, but I would suspect in the next 5 years it will, and very quickly. And finally, item number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest celebrity from the 2024 Olympic Summer Games in Paris, France, was, of course, none other than that international icon, Ray Gunn. And we have a Ray Gunn story. It is official. The World Dance Sport Federation has put out, great one, their 2024 break dancing world rankings. And B-Girl Ray Gunn holds the top spot in the sport's latest world rankings. Breakdancing's governing body issued a statement to provide clarity on why Ray Gunn tops the rankings. Effectively, they said that she's very good, and you just need to accept it. That the Olympics weren't a brightest moment, but Ray Gunn is the best breakdancer in the world.
People hate the best. They don't appreciate genius, and that's why this is getting bad press. But the Federation, they understand talent, obviously.
Apparently, the real reason is because after they sent Ray Gunn, after winning the Oceania Continental Championships and earning that Olympic spot, apparently, great one, about 90% of the breakdancers who participated in the World Dance Sport Federation rankings all said, we're out, and just all collectively pulled their names out, meaning Ray Gunn's the only one left. Congratulations to Ray Gunn for being named the best breakdancer on planet Earth. You've earned it, man. You've earned it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Mad world.
All right, guys. One more read and we're back. Stay right there for me.
Trust Bake. We take your small business baking personally. Visit your local PinTrust branch or anytime at h2b.com. Member FDIC.
Somebody on on Get Up took down Greenberg's Rodgers jersey and hung a Brock Purdy jersey in its place, but didn't tell him, and he noticed it on air.
Yeah, that's been up for a couple days.
I haven't seen it.
No, I mean, I thought
the
the
jersey?
jersey was up for a couple days. I had wondered about that when I saw it yesterday.
That's fantastic.
Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. We'll discuss as we take a bite out of history with Ingles Markets. It's late night, February 24th, 1942 in Los Angeles, California. The U.S. just entered World War II after Pearl Harbor attack, and the whole nation is on edge. Suddenly, soldiers guarding the West Coast catch a glimpse of an attacking force in the sky. Earlier that day, naval intelligence warned of a possible mainland attack, and the night already consisted of many flares and light signals from nearby defense positions. The soldiers poured in the gunpowder.
Oh, you know what I'm doing tonight is our last night before the football weekend starts? I'm going to watch the Connor Stallions documentary tonight, finally. After, what's his face, your tight end from the Texans the other day talked about it. And then J.K. Dobbins talked about it. Connor Stallions is a sociopath. I got to tell you, college football super fans make my life better.
Or he was an employee doing what he was told.
It's the Jackson Ryder Show here on the Fan Ups. It's not. It's the Rob Brown Show. We made fun of Deshaun earlier, and I've been laughing at it ever since. Hey, I was going to do this yesterday, and we will do NFL Power Rankings on Tuesdays after Monday Night Football is concluded moving forward, but I didn't yesterday because, hey, shut up. It was week one. I'm not in the groove yet, all right? We're just getting full throttle up into the NFL season after week one reached its conclusion on Monday evening. So let's run through the Rob Brown Show NFL Power Rankings after week number one. We start at the very bottom of the list at number 32. No shock to anybody. I have to put the Carolina Panthers here. Do I think the Panthers are going to finish as the worst team in the NFL? I do not. In fact, I don't even think they'll be close to it. I think there are at least three teams that will finish the year worse than the Panthers. However, the Panthers got the doors blown off of them in week one. Nobody can put anybody but the Panthers at number 32 after getting throttled by 37 in week number one. At number 31, I got to put Danny Dimes and the New York Football Giants. He is, in fairness, making his return back from an injury that ruined his season. However, somebody pointed out to me yesterday, it has been, Lonzo, 395 days since the last time that Danny Dimes threw an NFL-level touchdown.
What was his injury, by the way?
I don't even remember. Wasn't it a knee? Wasn't it an ACL?
It could have been. If it was a throwing shoulder, then I think he should.
It was a no. The neck was 2021. He had a neck injury. I remember the neck injury. Let's see here. Let's see. I got the injury report right here. November 5th of last year. Yeah, ACL. I was right. October 8th, 2023, a neck injury in week 5. He then, a few weeks later, had the ACL. He also had an ankle sprain in 2022, a cervical neck pinch in 2021, a grade 1 concussion in 21, a hamstring strain in 2020, an ankle sprain high level in 2020, a hamstring strain in 2020, a high ankle sprain in 2019, and a shoulder clavicle fracture in 2019. Danny Dimes is a walking case study of what happens when you play behind an offensive line that stinks. Woof, 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 woof. Danny Dimes at 31. At number 30, give me the Las Vegas Raiders. I actually had somewhat elevated expectations of the Raiders with Antonio Pierce being elevated to the full-time, but the Raiders decided to punt on 4th and 1 from the Chargers 43 in the fourth quarter when down by 6. You know what the Chargers did? They went 92 the other way, scored, and made it a 2-score game the Raiders couldn't win. I like Antonio Pierce. He's a player's guy. I think the players are going to line up after him. But if that's the kind of cowardly decisions that you're making as the head coach, doesn't matter how much everybody loves you. You're a bad coach. We'll see if he can get that fixed. I got the Raiders at number 30. I got the Broncos at number 29. Bo Nix didn't look as good as everybody said he was going to do. It looked exactly as good as I told you he was going to. Had a couple of good runs. That touchdown that he put into the end zone on a rush was pretty impressive. Got a cornerback in the air on the pump fake and then got him vertical and went underneath. It was pretty good, but he also went 3.3 yards per attempt against Seattle's defense. That's a middle of the pack defense. Denver at number 29 at the Commanders. At number 28, Jaden Daniels. Like, you could see what he can be. He wasn't it, but you can see what he can be. That being said, Dan Quinn was supposed to be the best defensive coordinator in the game. The Commanders' defense got shredded by Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. That's why I got to drop them to 28. At 27, I got the Patriots. Ugly box score. Box score belies what happens, which is they beat the Bengals. Again, no T. Higgins. Jamar Chase had been wearing a football helmet for 3 total minutes this year before they started that game. I don't think the Bengals are that bad. I think the Patriots got a little bit of the benefit of the doubt with the week 1 contest. I think the Pats are going to be gritty. I also think they're going to be bad. But based on week 1, I got them at 27. I got 26. The Tennessee Titans. They were up 17-3 on Chicago before they just exploded and imploded somehow at the exact same time. I like the Titans this year, but Will Levis has got to get his head screwed on straight. That falling down, underarm, whatever it was, pick 6 he threw at the end of the game and then went to the ground in like a Shawshank viral moment at the end. That kind of stuff can't happen in the NFL.
Listen, he threw his hands up to say, I still smell good. That's what he did.
Mayo! Okay. I got the Chargers at number 25. Good debut for Jim Harbaugh, but they played Big Ten football. They ran. Now, that's what Jim Harbaugh said they were going to do. He stayed true to it. J.K. Dobbins looked like an absolute stud in this game. And by the way, the Chargers got the Panthers in week 2. Could be 2-0 on deck. I got Chargers at 25. I got the Cardinals at 24. Cardinals look dramatically better than anybody expected them to. Granted, didn't win the game. That's because Josh Allen did Josh Allen things. They got to get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. Lonzo sent me a hilarious tweet. It said, all Marvin Harrison Jr. highlights, and it was just him running butt naked wide open and not getting the football. They got to fix that. Number 23, give me the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, that 60-yard touchdown pass showed you exactly what he can do. Didn't look super impressive outside of that. There was a lot of ugly for the Colts. They can clean it up. Number 22, the Minnesota Vikings. How about Sammy D? Sam freaking Darnold outperformed Danny Dimes, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Gardner Minshew, Bryce Young, and they won the game. Did exactly what they were supposed to. 21, New Orleans Saints, 1-0. Listen to me. You didn't underestimate the Saints. The Saints are still going to stink. The Saints are still going to be bad. They played Carolina, who's got a lot of growing to do. We knew that coming into the year. But you put up 47 and played a good chunk of the fourth quarter with your backups. They deserve some credit. They get it going to 21. Number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Etienne got the ball stripped out on the goal line. That would have changed the game.
You put your team
at 21.
Dude, come on.
Where should I put them? They beat Carolina.
Yeah, but
a team you have been pooping on all season.
But it's one of the biggest beatdowns in a long time in the NFL.
Don't disagree. They do it again and they beat Dallas this week. They'll go up to about number 10.
Wow. Okay.
Beat Dallas. Beat Dallas and prove it. But until they prove it against the real NFL team, I'm not there yet. All right. Jacksonville at number 20. If it wasn't for the ETN fumble, I think they would have beat the Dolphins, and this would have been a different ranking. That being said, they didn't.
Okay, hold on. Your rankings are bothering me here.
Why?
So you put a team that lost above a team that spanked another team in the NFL?
Did I put a team that barely lost against an AFC favorite for the Super Bowl over a team that beat a team that has 380,000 to 1 odds to win their conference? Yes, I did. If Jacksonville and New Orleans play today, who
Saints
you taking?
fans, come against this man. He's supposed to be one of your own.
Keegan's right there. He ain't said a damn word. Ain't said a damn word.
He's probably trying to pick himself up off the floor.
Number 19, I'll put the Atlanta
Not because
Falcons.
you're not capable, Keegan, but because he knocked you so far
off
down. Your chair.
Number 19, I got the Atlanta Falcons. To be honest with you, no, you know what? I'm going to flip those two. I'm going to go 20 Atlanta. I wrote these down last night, and I was very tired. I'm going to flip those two. I'm going to go 21 Atlanta, 20 New Orleans, 19 Jacksonville. Kirk Cousins looked like Kirk Cousins. Again, I'm going to point out no preseason work for the Atlanta Falcons. I think they will clean it up. We'll find out. I got Pittsburgh at number 18. Hey, they won the game. They went into Atlanta and won the game. It was ugly, a lot of field goals, but they won the game. Number 17, give me the Seattle Seahawks. Is what it is. They beat a rookie quarterback in week 1. Nothing really jumped off the page at me, but they got it done. Number 16, here's the thing. The Cleveland Browns defense can carry them to wins. Deshaun Watson ain't him. That offense ain't it, but they've got everything they need except the quarterback. I think this team defensively is one of the best in the NFL, and if they figure it out under center, they're going to be fine. I'll put Chicago at number 15. I ain't writing Caleb Williams off after his one game in the NFL wasn't what everybody hyped it up to be, the GOAT recruit, the GOAT draft pick.
At least they won.
They did win.
Yeah,
they did win.
Wow.
You know who didn't win? Green Bay Packers, but I'll put them one spot ahead of Chicago. All right, one spot ahead of Chicago. Now, I think the Packers come tumbling down. Remember, these are just based on results from week 1, not prognostications for week 2. No Jordan Love. They're probably in trouble coming up this week with Malik Willis. But based on what I saw in a fist fight with the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm fine with them being here. I'll tell you who I think is going to look back, because I think they were in this game until one of the best teams in the NFC took them out of this game. I don't know if this is too high or not. I think it might be, but we'll see. The New York Jets at number 13. No issue with the Jets at 13 because they got a lot right. They got a lot wrong, but they got a lot right. And remember, the Jets stink in primetime. Robert Saleh's like 1-17 in primetime games with the Jets. They'll get it corrected. Miami at number 12. They did not look like the Dolphins of last year. Tua still had almost 350 yards. Tyreek still had over 100 yards. They're still them. Didn't look as good running the ball as I'd like. We'll find out. I'm putting Cincinnati at number 11. They're 0-1. That's a team that lost. Why, Rob? Why would you put them at number 11? The answer is because they didn't play any in the preseason. Joe Burrow ain't played a meaningful football game in a year, and you didn't have T. Higgins, and Ja'Marr Chase is coming back. Watch this team blow the doors off next week. Let's put Tampa at number 10. Why not? Baker Mayfield and the boys offensively shredded Dan Quinn's defense. They go to Detroit in week 2. That's a playoff revenge game. I do think they'll come down a little bit because I think Detroit wins that game, but we'll find out. Number 9, the LA Rams. They rebounded against the Lions on the road and made it a game. And number 8, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, you beat up on Cleveland, a team that I've got in the top half of the league right now. It's a good win. I'm not ready to put them up there with Detroit. They got to prove it's going to be consistent behind Dak this year. And again, CeeDee Lamb and Tony Ferguson are the only weapons. We'll see if they continue that. They got the Saints, two teams I have question marks about. And number 6, I'll put the Baltimore Ravens. Went to Arrowhead, couldn't get it done. All right? Couldn't get it done. Had chances. Lamar both put them in a position to win it, but then blew it when it was his time to win it. I still think they're really good. I'm just not ready to move them up. Philly went down to Sao Paulo. I'm not taking the results of this game as gospel for what the Eagles and the Packers are. There was a lot of BS floating around that game. We'll see what this team can do. I got to see a better condition. I got to see a better condition out of the defense. But it was an ugly game with a lot of variables. Number 4, the Houston Texans lived up to what I wanted to see out of week 1. Got into a fist fight with the Indianapolis Colts and then won that fist fight. That's all I can ask for. We'll see what they do with Joe Mixon, who ran the hell out of the football, adding to that pass game. I got Detroit at number 3 after their win over the Rams. It was an overtime game. I would have liked to have seen them put the Rams away conclusively, but the Rams are a very, very good football team. I think it's fine to have them here. Number 2, San Francisco 49ers. No Christian McCaffrey. Didn't matter because, they found a guy. Turns out the 49ers are a wagon. That wagon ain't ready to get over the Kansas City Chiefs. Want to know, here's the thing. I'd like to put them higher. You'd like to go, why so high in a fist fight with the Ravens? As Lonzo has pointed out to us about 11 times so far, the Chiefs love to be in tight games just for the fun. I think at this point, Andy Reid just hates covering the spread. He's going to win the games, but he's not going to cover. Screw you. It's like the game plan for Andy Reid. So there's my NFL power rankings. After one single week, we will revisit these next Tuesday after week number 2. The Andy Reid of sports flashes, Alonzo. There we go. I can do this.
Thought we talked about not talking about my weight. The NFL announced it is investigating the most recent allegations of sexual harassment and assault levied against Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. League spokesperson Brian McCarthy said the league is evaluating the claims under their personal conduct policy, though Deshaun could face more time on the commissioner's exempt list if charges are formally brought against Watson. The Carolina Panthers will be without Pro Bowl defensive lineman Derek Brown for the rest of the season. Brown was injured during the Panthers' 47-10 loss to the Saints last Sunday, though neither he nor the team could specify when the injury happened. Last year, Brown played 89% of the team snaps and was responsible for over 12% of the total tackles in 2023. Hey, tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Greer to take on the Yellow Jackets. It's Burns versus Greer right here on your home for Burns Rebels football, The Fan, Upstate. Come on, Bill.
Set your kids up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Just like learning the rules of football, understanding money management is crucial. Our Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Give your young MVPs the skills they need to move the chains on their financial futures. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualifications required. Terms and conditions apply.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Voted one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Located in Piedmont off I-85 exit 35. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Buy your tickets now at madworldattractions.com.
Did you know you can use your own body's healing properties to revitalize your achy joints and get you real lasting pain relief? Hey, it's Charlie James. I'm talking about advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. If you're tired of arthritic pain in your knees, your hips, your back, or your shoulders, this is something you need to check out. Everybody's talking about regenerative medicine, and the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are experts in these amazing treatments. People are raving about the results. You can enhance your joints, improve mobility, and get back to doing all the stuff you love without pain and without drugs or surgery or downtime. Under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkamp, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in this exciting breakthrough.
Bo Verthro-Nix. Well done, Keegan. Bravo.
Give them a call at 864-448-30.
I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I touch myself. Oh, I don't know.
You probably shouldn't sing that after having left the room for a while.
I got nothing.
It's probably not a good move on your part.
Retirement income with the same dollar saved, and the money is never at risk if the market crashes.
That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even the super wealthy are shifting money into this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better, stress-free retirement, call today to speak to a specialist and get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Retirement Deception. Call 888-231-2573. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free. So don't delay. Call right now. 888-231-2573. That's 888-231-2573.
Y'all want to hear about the AARP auto insurance program from the Hartford? Well, if you're age 50 or over, you can save hundreds when you switch. You get some exclusive discounts from items in the air now. We're going to sign you up, baby. Go to visit HartfordAuto.com today for your free quote.
When you're with the Hartford, the Bucks got your back. The Hartford Car Insurance Company, not AARP or its affiliates. Individual savings vary. The Hartford pays a royalty fee to AARP, which is used for external purposes. For information and restrictions, go to thehartford.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
When it comes to the best sports talk anywhere, listen to the Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are, in the car, at home, at work. Download the Odyssey app on your phone. Search the Fan Upstate, and you're in the game. The Fan Upstate. The Fan
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CV Spartanburg.
Upstate.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Away we go. The third hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular, as always, to have you here on the show. Should you elect to be a part of the radio broadcast, now is a spectacular time to do it. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open for you at 844-326-3663. That is 844-FANFONE. If you want to jump at us on the phone lines, you are certainly welcome to do it. You can get at us on the text line at 71307, 71307. If you want to come at us in that direction, start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the show. You can shoot me a tweet at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can get at Lonzo, the great one, at Lonzo on Word, Lonzo on W-O-R-D. If you want to go in that direction, you are welcome to do so. Any and all of them available for you, but we do want you on the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. 8 o'clock in the morning, that's when we do the audio blitz. Some of our favorite sound that we have collected over the past 24 hours and let you listen to it and get some thoughts. Let's start with this one. Couple of Panthers pieces of audio. Deontay Johnson came to the podium after the Saints thrashed the Panthers, and there were plenty of questions. There were questions about preparedness. There were questions about how ready were you? How ready was the game plan? How'd you fit in? There was one quote, very quick quote, about 10 seconds long, that Panthers fans heard, and they latched onto. I am going to ask Lonzo for his knee-jerk reaction to this statement from Deontay Johnson.
To me, it was kind of easy, other than like Pittsburgh's training camp. I mean, I don't know, but I feel like I still got the same amount of work in here. So it wasn't nothing different that I haven't already been through. Deontay Johnson saying that Carolina offseason camp was easy.
Kind of easy.
Kind of easy.
I mean,
to me,
so-
it was kind of easy.
Yeah. So it's not easy. It's just kind of easy. which is not quite easy.
Do you have the knee-jerk reaction to that a lot of Panthers did online? A lot of Panther fans were like, "Oh, okay, worst season in the history of a questionable franchise," and you come in here and you don't work hard. I was like, I think the point from Deontay here wasn't that camp was easy. I think it was more along the lines of it was easy for me to get into the flow with this team. I didn't feel like I had to come in as the new guy, as the new pickup, and relearn everything I've ever learned as a football player. I feel like, and I get it, Panther fans are super sensitive right now.
He did say at the end it's not much different than what it was in Pittsburgh. So that goes along the lines of what you're saying, that he was just saying training camp's training camp.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the way I took it. But a lot of Panther fans up in arms.
What do you want them to come in and say, listen, man, this is so much more difficult. They push us harder here. I'm having to learn a very complex thing. I mean, I don't know. What do you want?
I mean, I honestly think that is what they want. I think they want Deontay to come out and go, "Hey, man, listen, we busted hump. It was tough, long summer, yada, yada, yada." But it is what it is. The Panthers yesterday taking strays everywhere. They made an appearance twice on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. One of them was after Sheena Quick. Last year we started making fun of the fact that the Panthers you could buy a ticket to a Panthers game for $1 late into the season. Apparently, people are selling their tickets right now for less than that.
But that team sucks, and there is not a lot of hope. They're actually selling tickets for $1.80 right now.
That's right. Two.
You can get 2 tickets for $1.80 right now to a Carolina Panthers game. It is home opener.
Yeah.
This would be home opener, $1.80 for 2 tickets. Now, at the end of the year last game of the season, it was raining terribly. They were in front of 100 fans. That is not normal in the NFL. At what point does the NFL look at Tepper and look at the Panthers and go hey, you're going to get relegated? You remember what happened to Burnley, okay, when they were up with the big boys and then they get dropped down in a championship? We might have to do that to you. Yep. You're embarrassing us. Whenever they show the stadium and it was completely empty last year, it looked like a COVID game.
Yep.
Now, $1.80, nobody in the NFL wants like that. Everything in the NFL is like this. Everything in the NFL is like this. Ratings, merch, sales, money, platforms, you name it. These guys can't sell a ticket down in Carolina.
Oh.
That is not good news for anybody down there.
Well, and it's not like the game was close at any point.
So when I wear my Kansas City gear and go to that game, I'll be all right.
I'll tell you right now, great one. Not even kidding. We have been going back and forth about. In fact, I talked to the boss the other day, and I asked him on our behalf if we were going to have any hookup when the chefs come to town. Kansas City coming to, and I won't be able to make it. No, I will. It's November 24th. I think that's Thanksgiving weekend, if I recall correctly.
It is.
I asked if we were going to have any hookups, and now I'm like, we don't need them. We're not going to need them. We're going to be able to get tickets damn near for free, even to the Chiefs. It's going to be a Chiefs home game. Lonzo's going to get to go to his first Chiefs home game outside of Kansas City. That's how bad it is. McAfee and the gang continued.
And maybe Canales going to have to be given time. Okay, there's his previous regime players that they're all probably assuming down there. Carolina Panthers, if you survive a year down there as a head coach or GM with David Tepper at the helm, okay, maybe you get some patience and turn that thing around next 7, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
But, boy, it looked bad. 30-0 at halftime.
Yep.
30-0 at halftime against the New Orleans Saints, and I'm sure Carr's going to take this as disrespect. I don't think any of us had high hopes for the New Orleans Saints going into this year, and they should take that as disrespect. We completely understand that, and they probably talk about that, how nobody's talking about them, nobody's talking about 30-0 first half, first game, division opponent.
NFL.
That in the professional football world, you would hope that something would just go a little bit better for the Carolina Panthers. Those fans down there got to be about ready to puke. I saw Luke Combs put out a tweet. Okay, New Year's Saint. All right. This is gruesome.
Yeah. What a way to describe it.
That is what Lacombe said. It was gruesome. Listen, there's 2 things there that Pat said that I've been saying for a while now. Number one, and I talked about this earlier this morning. It's not the first time. There comes a point where, as much as fans are going to go, why did it take this long? The reality is because the NFL does not like to step on its owner's toes. But there is a point where ownership gets so bad for a program that other NFL owners are going to step in and go, and you're making it harder for us to make money. That's the one cardinal sin of the NFL, right? It's the one thing you can't do. You can go out there and you can get arrested and you can come back. You can go out there and do a bunch of dumb stuff in the media. You can come back. You can go out there and you can be divisive with the way you talk about certain topics in the world, and you can come back. The one thing you cannot do is make it harder for the NFL owners to make money. And if Dave Tepper, if it gets to a point that ownership feels like David Tepper is making it harder for them to make money, that's the point where they will step in and go, yeah, you don't get to run this anymore, right? Jerry Richardson didn't get forced out of Carolina specifically because of the things that he did. That's what it's dressed up as. But that's not why he got forced out. He got forced out because the things he did started making people go, we ain't supporting that product. We're not putting money into the system. It was going to cost the NFL ownership money to keep Jerry Richardson in the fold. And they weren't going to do that. It's the only thing you can't do and keep your position in the NFL. So if it gets to the point where the other owners feel like the Panthers are so damn bad that they are costing David Tepper money, they will step in and say, you got to go. Something's got to change. We're going to make you, we are going to vote to make you sell your team. Mac, if you brought it up, and then the other thing you brought up was, this is a long game, guys. This is a patience game. This is not we're fixed. We got Canales. We're good now. This is a long game. And maybe it's the wrong long game to play. Maybe you still lose. But the only way to win the long game is to play the long game. You're playing the long game.
All right. So I went to StubHub because it's the first thing that popped up because I was curious. First, I looked at the Kansas City game. Tickets still pretty expensive. So they're still like $80, $90 a piece. But for this weekend, you and I,
home opener, by the way,
you and I can go for $8 a piece. So I mean, that's it's not bad.
No.
I mean, if they would fill in parking, that might be a deal to go see the home opener.
It will cost us more than twice the amount to park the car than it will to be at the game.
And also,
for the opener,
the gas to get there and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it says amazing by the deals.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
NFL game for $8. I don't think you can beat that deal.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's pretty spectacular.
I mean, you can do that and actually be able to afford to eat.
Yeah. That's pretty spectacular. Your single glizzy will cost more than the ticket to get in.
I get what this is. This is Tepper's about the family. Because you can take your entire family there for like $50.
Oh, man. While we're at it, one more quote from Pat McAfee talking about the fact that Columbia, South Carolina is the host of College Game Day this Saturday.
The Gamecocks fans took that entire place over. I assume there's going to be quite a scene on Saturday morning in South Carolina.
Oh, no doubt.
I
Great
assume,
fan base.
Great fan base.
Great. I went to their stadium. They played. My brother played at Akron, and that wasn't obviously a huge game, but great fan base. They show up,
and they're like the Cornhuskers.
Yes,
they've been waiting. Now they got a big time game. They beat LSU. That's huge deal.
And college football is just better when Brian Kelly's all the time. When his face is beat red, when he's yelling at his players, just being an absolute maniac on the sidelines. That's when college football is at its best. So we'll see. I'm not saying I want LSU to lose on Saturday, but I certainly, wouldn't be upset.
It's going to be rowdy down there because, like we talked about earlier, they don't have NFL football in the Carolinas. They just have South Carolina.
No, they got the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Come on.
There's no $1.80 ticket for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
No.
There absolutely is not. There absolutely is not. Game day got to be there. By the way, how about Clemson catching a stray? Carolinas have nothing. No NFL football. There's nothing but the Gamecocks down there. Woo! McAfee firing off at the Tigers. I think it's a big deal. I talked about this earlier. I'll talk about it again later in the show. Massive opportunity for South Carolina to have nationalized turn to them and to show the nation, and more importantly, all the high school football recruits in it, exactly what they get to play in front of if they come to Columbia, South Carolina. Do not waste this opportunity. And Gamecock fans, this is fun because very rarely is it directly on you, right? Very rarely is what's put on TV directly on you. Even when you get a national game, they'll show some crowd shots, but at the end of the day, the attention's dialed in on the football team, on the football game, right? Not College Game Day. The attention is on you, the fans, the fan base, the mob. You better show up. You better be ridiculous because these are the types of things that you get a high school senior somewhere who's going, I really want to be able to play in front of one of the best fan bases in the country. This is your opportunity to prove that you're one of them. Regardless of the product on the football field, your chance to prove that if you come here and help us build something special, you will be a part of something special. It's a big deal. Travis Hunter from the University of Colorado just showed Deion Sanders how it's done.
We're going to break down the game, Nebraska game. They came out fast. They hit us in the mouth. We ain't had no response. That's pretty much what happened. And Nebraska's a good team, man. They beat us fair and square. And we just got to come out and do better. We got to play Colorado football, and that's not Colorado football.
No discredit to the team. Good team. They played good ball. But I want to give more credit to their fan base and the way they got their stadium set up. They give you hell from the time you step foot out your locker room to the time you get to the field.
That environment was top 10.
Yeah, I got to give it to them.
The little light show in the fourth quarter, that was good too. I ain't even gonna lie, that was a good little show, boy. That fans was loud on third down when you break the huddle, when you get in the huddle. I can't even think to myself how loud it was. Yeah, shout out to Nebraska.
That is Travis Hunter and his co-host on his podcast, giving a bunch of love to the Nebraska Cornhuskers for the environment that they brought against Colorado on Saturday night. And may I just say, props to Travis Hunter. That guy sounded like a class act, like a pro. That's how it's done, Deion. That's how you do it right there. Don't make it about you and all the issues you're having in the program. Just be a guy. Just be a dude. Travis Hunter was a dude right there. I love that. Good on him for saying those things and for doing those things. I love it. What on Travis Hunter? That's how the hell you do it, Deion. All right, one more before we get up out of here. Actually, probably two more, but they're both very short. The Auburn Tigers are quarterbacked by a young man by the name of Peyton Thorne. Peyton Thorne did not have a good day as Auburn loses to Cal this weekend. Sorry, Keegan, heart hand emoji. I love you. Peyton Thorne threw 4 picks in this game. Yesterday, he was on the SEC Unfiltered podcast.
Yeah, obviously everyone says that, you just don't listen to it and all that. And sometimes that's easier said than done because in today's world, they come at you in all different angles. You hear it verbally. That's probably the least one. But, just walking down the street, you hear it sometimes. And then obviously the social medias, they hit you on Venmo, all types of stuff. So, you just have to block it out. You have to go back to where your foundation is in your life. And for me, that's, my faith and my family. And so, just doing that, but also just keep the focus on what's next. Like I said, there's nothing we can do about Saturday, but I can handle today.
They're coming after your Venmo, Peyton.
They explain that one to me. I've never heard that. Like they send you cash?
No,
they're definitely not sending cash.
Okay.
It's funny when they lose money, they want the money back, but when they win money on a parlay, no one's ever sent any money. So
I see now.
Yeah.
What a dumb question by me. I understand now. Okay.
Peyton Thorne says after games, he gets Venmo requests from fans wanting him to fork over some cash for blowing their parlays, but they never want to seem to give him money when he hits one.
Was that Paul who wasn't paying attention? Was that who that was?
I don't know who it was. It was the host of SEC Unfiltered.
Okay, it sounded like Feinbaum.
No, it wasn't Feinbaum.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
2 guys who host that show. I don't specifically know exactly who it was that made that. Hilarious nonetheless. And I love that Peyton Thorne's got a good attitude about it, right? A lot of guys could have made themselves into that situation, especially after the game he just had. A lot of guys could have made himself into a victim in that spot. Oh, it's kind of tough to go out there and do this when I'm getting out and I'm getting in the locker room and I got 1,000 Venmo requests from people who are blah blah. He didn't. He had to laugh about it, and I respect that out of Peyton Thorne. I wish him the best. All right, very very quick last one. Jordan Mason, immediately after the game, replaced Christian McCaffrey, who they announced is inactive minutes before Monday Night Football. Jordan Mason was doing his post-game interview and got asked, hey, when did you find out you were going to start?
When did you find out?
I just said that.
When did I find out? Maybe Friday night, something like that.
Okay, short answer, right? No big deal. He found out Friday, except for the 49ers didn't announce it till Monday. Now, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter all that much unless Christian McCaffrey is your fantasy football running back. And you didn't know that he wasn't playing on Monday and all the games Sunday were over, which means if you did not have a running back also playing in this game, your team was screwed. I happen to get very fortunate and ended up with Jordan Mason on my team. So I got to replace CMC with CMC's backup. That was my strategy going in. Worked out well for me, at least in this one game. Except for there were a lot of people who didn't have that and were very, very upset that the 49ers apparently told Jordan Mason on Friday he was going to be starting on Monday, and nobody made that announcement during the weekend. Well, Jordan Mason went into his post-game press conference after that, the actual press conference, and was asked about that scenario.
When did you find out that you'd be in the starting lineup?
that question right there is why I'm at. That's why I don't like really talking to media, because you say one thing wrong and then, you know, I don't know. Just skip that question.
I want to be very clear. Jordan Mason didn't do anything wrong. Okay? Didn't do anything wrong. He has no reason, if he got told that he was going to be the starter on Friday, no reason to hide that information. The only people who have a reason to hide that information and to be upset about that is the team and the media who reports on the team, because they got left in the dark about a massively important situation for an NFL, NFC Super Bowl contender, a team that was there last year on the legs of CMC, who, if the team knew on Friday and didn't report it until less than 30 minutes before the game on Monday, that's a real bad look. So the media is upset, but I just want to be very clear. Jordan Mason, they're not mad at you. You didn't say anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong, and you shouldn't be taking heat for this. The 49ers absolutely should, because that's an impactful story that if Jordan Mason is telling the truth, even if it was a slip-up, and said that he knew on Friday that he was starting on Monday and nobody else said anything, it's a real bad look for San Francisco, not Jordan Mason. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more live. Stay right there. We'll be back in just mere moments from right now.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. Are you sick of all the fancy charts and investments?
Breaking: the Steelers preparing Justin Fields to start versus the Broncos. The team will continue to monitor Russell Wilson in practice. Mm-hmm.
Look, you don't rush him back because either.
Yeah, Russ, come on, man, come
You
on.
don't rush him back.
Come on.
If-
Like I said
if-
yesterday.
if
Hey,
Justin
listen,
Fields-
that looks like that hurts, man. I saw you wince. So just set out another game. It's okay. It's all right. You good. You're our guy. I want you to know you're our guy. You're our guy. But we want to take care of you. You haven't been taken care of anywhere you've been, but here we're going to take care of you. So you just take it easy another week. It's all right. Or they're saying, hey man, we're going to set you up as the hero. Here's what we're going to do. We know Justin Fields is going to fail eventually. You're going to come in and you're going to look all world. You got to wait for your moment. It's going to happen. Maybe not till mid-season, maybe late season, but it's going to happen. So you just wait around. It's going to be all right. Just think, Russ, you used to have an office you could go hide in. Wow. I wonder where that fat hog Piper Niven was during this match. She said, busy shagging your mom because your dad is a disappointment like you. I don't know if that's really her, but that's a good comeback.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan of State. A couple of things to knock out real quick here in a short segment. I will begin with this. We talked about Jordan Mason, the comments he made. He said immediately after the game on Monday that he was told he was going to be the starter last Friday. He got asked about it in the postgame presser, and he said, you say one thing wrong and you get beat up by the media. Nobody's beating up Jordan Mason. Beating up the fact that the 49ers, if this is true, the 49ers knew on Friday. Now, what I bet happened is that Jordan Mason got told on Friday, be ready to start Monday. Because we knew McCaffrey was kind of dinged up. We didn't know on Friday if he was going to play. My bet is what realistically happened is Jordan Mason probably got told, be ready to play on Monday in case we need you. And the way that he said it was he got told to be the starter on Friday. My bet is San Francisco told him, get ready. And that was it. But point here is, if it turns out that San Francisco knew on Monday that this was going to be the case, and did not tell everybody that this was happening, yeah, then they're gonna not look great. Not great in that spot. Here's another thing that just happened. Those of you that have listened to the show for any length of time, you have heard us talk about a listener that goes by the name of Cinderella. Cinderella was a founding member of the Welcome Home podcast. It's a phenomenal South Carolina podcast that I have been invited on every now and then to talk. He also is a contributor for College Baseball CNT here in the area, talks a lot of Gamecock baseball, football, basketball, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Sin put up a tweet the other day. The tweet from Sin said, former South Carolina wide receiver and current WWE superstar Mitch Belton, a.k.a. Trick Williams, has been pulled from live WWE events this weekend. Looks like we might have our guest picker for College Game Day. Hashtag whoop that trick. Well, that's a post. That's interesting.
Uh-huh. I like it.
Uh-huh. I like it.
Yeah, man.
Trick has since retweeted, posted that tweet with the sideways eyes emoji, like the I see you emojis, like the I'm looking at you emojis. Do we have our guest picker? Remember, guest picker, like usually always somebody connected to the university in question, maybe a celebrity, musician, movie star, former athlete, whatever. And the thought was that it was going to be Dawn Staley, because Dawn Staley's Gamecocks this week did their visit up to the White House, met with President Joe Biden this week. They are, I said Joe Biden, didn't I? Joe Biden. This week at the game against LSU, they're going to be honored on the field for the Natty.
You're going to get some words for that from your people.
Okay. Liberob strikes again. They're going to be honored, the women's basketball team, on the field during the game on Saturday against LSU. And so the popular thought was that it'd be Dawn Staley. But now WWE superstar and former Gamecock wide receiver Trick Willie Style responded to one of our listeners, one of the Armada, Cinderella, with the sideway eye glance emoji when Sin reported. So I asked Sin, I'm like, yo, my guy, did you just break Game Day's guest picker for Saturday? And he said, IDK LMAO, I have a friend who knows WWE people, and he told me Trick was pulled this weekend. And, well, I made a tweet, and here we are, LMAO. So I'll let you know I reached out to Trick and his PR people, and I would say, I said, hey, look, we are the, and I think I'm pretty comfortable saying this, the number one sports talk radio show for Gamecock talk in the Southeast, or excuse me, in the upstate of South Carolina. Because the other station ain't doing anything at all. And I would say, we had friend of the show, Shane Beamer, on. We've had Dawn in the past. Like, it's us, right? So if we can get Trick up in here, if we get an email back from Trick that says, yeah, I'll be on, I'm ready to come on Friday, then I think we'll know the guest picker.
We do spend more time in Columbia than anybody else.
That's true. We keep going over there and coming back with hardware. It's kind of a tradition to the show at this point. All right. So we'll let you know if that happens. And before we go to the break, I'm just going to say this very quickly. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Maybe a little bit I am. Lonzo and I got a text yesterday as we get set for Friday Night SmackDown coming here to Greenville, South Carolina, Bon Secours Wellness Arena, October 11th of this year. We got a text yesterday saying, hey, would you guys like to have these two wrestlers on as guests in the next couple of weeks? And I said, yeah. Now, I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just going to say, if we get this individual on and he says, hey, I'm willing to come on, Rob Brown, let me talk to you, I would say it's going to be very cool. Yeah, the other one.
She would say, Rob Brown, you need to be on time, which you're not right now.
The other one, if we can get her on, she would indeed say, I'm glad we got on the show. It's my time. Now, I'm not going to tell you who they are. Yeah, dummy. But it's her time. We'll see how that shakes out. Rob Alonso, the Rob Brown Show. Chipper Jones has got things to say about the Braves. I'll tell you what they are when we come back on the Fan Upstate. Bow, bow, bow.
to just 3 hits. NASCAR running at Watkins Glen in upstate New York on Sunday to go bowling at the Glen. 9 laps around the 7-turn circuit with 141 feet of elevation change. The race is also the second race. Football Saturday, South Carolina home to take on number 60 LSU. The Gamecocks off to a 2-0 start after their win over the weekend against Kentucky. Furman will be home on Saturday. They'll take on Stetson, while Wofford will be home as well, taking on William and Mary. Clemson has the weekend off. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on The Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell Crash Cam shows an accident. Spartanburg, westbound I-26 and I-85 exit 18. Spartanburg, the intersection of East St. John and North Orange, jammed up in all directions. Southbound 85 plugs up just past the 101 down to Pelham Road. Southbound 276 Malden Road is slow past 385. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on The Fan Upstate.
You don't hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Ingles Markets, we support Beats Pals, a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising awareness about PTSD and supporting local veterans' families who need it the most. To learn how you can support a scholarship today, visit HeatsPals.org. That's HeatsPals.org. Proudly sponsored by Ingles Markets.
Join us at the Bohemian Bowl on Saturday, September 14th from 12 to 4 p.m. for a special Military Appreciation Night benefiting Upstate Warrior Solutions. For just $20, enjoy a delicious shrimp boil and 2 refreshing beers from Savage Craft Ale Works. We'll have live music from Foxy J and the Jury, plus a silent auction. It's all happening at 3620 Pelham Road in Greenville. Come out and show your support for our local veterans. Learn more at BohemianBowl.com and UpstateWarriorSolution.com. Let's give back to those who have given so much.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downey are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships.
Chris just texted the show and said, if you get, I will be there with roses. My wife granted me 1 hall pass, so call me Steph Curry because I will be shooting my shot.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states. As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to give me what I need when I need it. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through September 15th, purchase high-quality GAF with Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
I don't feel so good. I do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yes, Dayquil Kids.
Just for kids medicine. Safe for Kids 6 Plus. Use as directed. Progressive presents Renter's MVPs. Most valuable possessions. Today's MVP, Joe Fallon's bedroom mini fridge. Sure, this pint-sized chiller's max capacity is 3 soda cans, but what it lacks in stature, it makes up in cooling strength. Each beverage a perfect 37 degrees every time. And the 2 feet Joe walks to get a drink, priceless. That's why his mini fridge is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance.
Why does Joe have to walk 2 feet to get in the fridge? Why don't he just reach? Just next to his bed, just stretch out, dude.
I want a fridge next to my bed. I would never leave the house on Saturdays.
Gotta pee sometime.
That's fair. Okay, I would leave the bed a lot fewer times on Saturdays. Actually, technically, I would leave the bed more on Saturdays because I'd only leave the bed once, technically, right now. But if you put a fridge next to me, I don't have to get up, then I would have to leave the bed multiple times only to pee.
Which would mean you leave the bed more times than one.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because that also means I get in the bed more times.
I appreciate your Steiner math.
Technically correct is the best kind of correct. All right, we're going to get to the Chipper Jones thing here in just a minute with a little game we like to call, okay, stop. No, that's not true. We call it Hole Up. That's right. I forgot. I changed the name of the game. Called it Hole Up. But before I do, got a text from Chris during the break. UNC Chris said, if you get, Chris figured out who I was talking about there. Obviously thinly veiled, but, he figured it out. He said, if you get her, I will be there with roses. My wife granted me 1 hall pass, so call me Steph Curry because I will be shooting my shot. Chris? Let me tell you what. You want to call yourself Steph Curry because you're going to shoot your shot? That's fine. Call me Draymond Green because I will stomp you before you get between me and that conversation.
All right. First of all, you both will be broken into pieces because of her boyfriend.
Willingly so.
You two.
Willingly so.
You two together.
She's with Giovanni, right? Allegedly, if we're talking about that person.
No, she's not. She's with your boy.
R-Truth?
Dude.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Ludwig. Yeah, that guy. -2% body fat. I get it.
It's funny when you were hinting at somebody, suddenly a video of her and Ludwig just showed up on my feed.
We're influencers, bud. We're influencers. I told you, we're influencers.
I've never seen them together. But she's like driving in the car. They just bought a TV, and he's all leaned over with the TV on the back of his head.
Chris said, you're getting married. Let me have this one. I'm a Panthers fan. God, have some sympathy. All right, let's talk Atlanta Braves here for just a minute. The Bravos do get a win last night, 12-0. They shut out the DC Nationals. Reynaldo Lopez forced to leave the game after just 1 inning with shoulder tightness. His velo on his heater dropped from where it hovered around 96, 97 down to the upper 80s, low 90s before he got yanked from that game. The Braves bats got hot, though. A bunch of hits and 4 dingers in that contest. Well, before that happened, and maybe this was the inspiration, IDK, but before that happened, Chipper Jones was online and had some comments about the Braves. We're going to play a little game we call Hold Up. Game's very simple. It's an excuse for me to play longer form, okay? I'm going to play some audio from Chipper. We're going to stop it at various times by going, hold up, and responding to whatever Chipper had to say. Chipper had this to say about the Atlanta Braves, the Braves team that he was working for as like consultant / assistant coach and then stopped doing that. Chipper gave us some insight as to why.
Working with the Braves for the last couple of years, it's very frustrating.
Stop. Hold up. Watching the Braves this year has been frustrating. Continue.
It is very frustrating. I can't stand giving away outs. I can't stand strikeouts. I can't deal with guy on third, less than 2 outs, not hitting a ground ball to shortstop or second base to get that run in. I can't stand, every once in a while not laying down a bunt for your best hitters.
Hold up. Everything Chipper's saying right now, yes, infuriating because Atlanta, and it worked for him last year. And this is the problem, is that sometimes you do something that is unorthodox and it works. But the reality is the reason that thing's unorthodox is because it works far fewer times than it doesn't, right? Building a team that is built off of the long ball works very rarely. It worked for the Braves last year. I would argue it didn't work for the Braves last year because it got them into the playoffs as the NL East divisional champs. But then what happened in the playoffs for the second year in a row as a team that was built on chicks digging the long ball? I actually think Chip says that here in just a minute. A team built on chicks digging the long ball gets into the playoffs. The long ball ain't there, and they don't know how to play small ball. So they get run by the Phillies twice. Chipper is spot on right here. If you can't play small ball, if you can't bunt a guy from second to third, first to second, if you can't hit a laser at the shortstop on the ground so that the man on third can score, if you are effectively sending guys up there in multiple spots just to swing for the fences, it's not only very frustrating, but it is a spectacular way to lose more than you win.
All these things that really help help you accumulate numbers. They don't care, 100 RBIs. So what? I want to hit 40 dingers, and this is truly a chicks dig the long ball kind of era. I think having worked with Alex Anthopoulos, they want slug and they want guys who get on base, at a high clip, but they don't promote enough, I think, the getting on base part. In order to score runs, you got to get those guys on base.
Hold up. Right. This is what I have been screaming, shouting, hollering from the rooftops all season long. You built a team predicated on hitting the long ball. And when the long ball ain't happening, at some point, you've got to be able to change it up. And Atlanta can't right now. Atlanta cannot figure out how to change it up at this point. And if they can't figure out how to change it up, what do you expect is going to happen, right? This is like a team in the NFL or in college football that goes and gets a great quarterback and builds itself on its ability to throw the ball, to wing that thing around the field. But if that quarterback's not clicking, if that quarterback's not hitting, at some point you got to be able to go, okay, we're going to downshift. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball until we get into that rhythm and that timing and the routine. It's the same thing. It's just baseball. And Chipper's exactly right. This team is predicated on, built around, dudes going yad, and if dudes can't go yad and they can't hit the long ball, they're going to stink.
The Braves.
Hold up.
And you've seen it.
I didn't want people to think that I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
You can keep going.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thanks.
This year, last year it was like 307 homers. It was ridiculous. And in a year like that, everything's great, but when the market corrects, like it is this year for a team, obviously having lost Strider and Acuna are huge blows for this ball club. You have to do other things. And until recently, the last week or 10 days, the market has corrected and they have struggled.
Hold up. Yes.
Big time. And it's hard to watch. I don't watch as much as I want to because I find myself throwing flip-flops at the TV and, just.
All right. Hold. Come on, dude. A flip-flop thrown by you probably could destroy that TV. The next baseball player, don't throw stuff, dude. And stop going before it's just like he's going to expire before we play the last part of the clip.
Expire.
You're going to play the last part and you're going to say, hold up. He died.
Expire.
Hold up. He died.
Incredible. All right. Last 3 seconds.
Just being frustrated. And I'm too old to do that, man.
Yeah, me too, Chip. Me too. And I do want to point out.
Did he just take a hit or something? Right?
No, he's
are you sure?
Yeah, Chip's advanced in age now.
Like he's still younger than me, probably.
He's 52.
Told you.
Yeah, not by much, but he is. No, listen. I think he's spot on, and I will even tell you. I'll go one step further. I haven't watched nearly as much Braves in the second half as I did the first half. Okay. I just haven't. I watched
front runners.
Again, it's not even that.
Where you care so much.
I do.
That it hurts you so deeply that you cannot support your teams.
Maybe don't try to elbow drop me. Let me explain why, because I got a good reason. It's not because they're not the front runner. I'm a Saints fan, for God's sake. 99% of the seasons I've watched every game, we have sucked. I will watch a team when the team's not good, but they're going about it the right way.
I prefer Scorpion Death Drop, by the way.
Whatever you want. Whatever verbal wrestling move you want to go with. The point for me here in this spot is thus. I can't get down with watching a squad that just does the same thing over and over and over and over and nothing changes. And I'm at the spot now where I realize that's what the Braves are. I can't tell you how many one-run games I watched where Atlanta gets late into the game and they're in a small ball contest, and what do? They send up Arcia, and he's swinging to try to hit a ball to the moon. And they send up Big Bear, and he tries to hit a ball to Saturn. And they send up Olsen, both of those cats with 155 strikeouts this year. And these guys come up there in situations where if you just hit a ground ball up the gap, just gapper, you're scoring a run, and we're talking about a game that is at least tied up. Maybe you're winning. But no. We go up there and we try to go yard. And when that doesn't change, and it's just that all the time, and there's no difference here. We got a texter a minute ago, and I'm gonna play into this. He said, agree with Chipper, but when Strider, Acuna, Albies, and Austin Riley currently out, Murphy missed half the year. It's not a normal year, not even close. I agree with that. But see, here's my problem. That doesn't mean that Marcell Ozuna can only try to hit home runs, that Matt Olson can only try to hit home runs, that Arcia can only try to hit home runs. That doesn't mean that d'Arnaud can only try to hit home runs, that Sean Murphy can only try to hit home runs. Can't happen, right? In fact, if anything, it should be the opposite. When you got this many guys out, when you got this much power out of your lineup, in that spot, you should not be doing nothing but swinging for the fences. Quite the opposite. In that spot, you should try to be winning with baseball. Just play baseball. And I'm with Chipper. As somebody who, for the first 3 months of the season, I was watching 85% of Braves games. Ask Alonzo, I used to celebrate because Tuesday, the Braves are playing a day game at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I'm going home to watch. I'm working from home with the TV on because I'm watching the Bravos. And now I'm like, whatever. I'm missing the end of the season the last end of the season, which is going to be a playoff race for Atlanta with the Mets for that final wildcard spot. I'm missing it because I'll be down at the wedding and then doing a tour de force around Florida as a mini honeymoon. And I don't feel sad about it. I want to feel sad about it. I want to feel like I'm genuinely missing something. I'm going to be sad when I'm missing other things that are happening in the wedding. I mean, I'll be more excited about my wedding and my tour de force of Florida with the fiance. It's going to be, well, at that point, it'll be the wife. It'll be great. But there's other things I'm missing in the motorsports I'm going to be sad about. I'm not sad about missing Braves ball. It is what it is. That's why I'm frustrated. That's why Chipper's frustrated, and Chipper's right to be frustrated. You should be frustrated because I talk too long and prevent you from hearing Lonzo's Sports Flash.
In case you missed it, the Atlanta Braves beat the Nationals 12-0 yesterday, recording 15 hits and 4 home runs in the process. With the win, Atlanta is tied with the Mets for the final wild card spot. Some of you will actually be watching that. Apparently not Rob. The Carolina Panthers will be without Pro Bowl defensive lineman Derek Brown for the rest of the season. Brown was injured during the Panthers' 47-10 loss to the Saints last Sunday, though neither he nor the team could specify when the injury happened. Last year, Brown played 89% of the team snaps and was responsible for over 12% of the total tackles in 2023. Tune in Saturday at 12:30 as the Furman Paladins take on the Stetson Hatters. It's Furman versus Stetson right here on your home for Paladins football. Also, tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels head to Greer to take on the Yellow Jackets right here on your home for Furman and Burns football, the Fan Upstate.
Except for the 49ers didn't. I said Mario will link.
It's the Labor Day sale for the Upstate Golf Cart. Right now, you can get 7 rounds of golf for just $50. With the Upstate Golf Cart, get access to premier upstate courses like Greer Golf, The Rock, Pebble Creek, The Preserve in Verde, Carolina Springs, Rolling Green, Linksell Tryon, and more. Grab your foursome and hit the course with the Upstate Golf Cart. Order yours today at upstategolfcart.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $50 with the Labor Day sale. Get yours now at upstategolfcart.com.
This is an ad by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Everyone, it's Boomer Esiason. What's something that you've always wanted to learn? An instrument, a new language, how not to burn pasta. Whether it's big or small, imagine
How not to burn pasta? Is that a big problem for people?
I think it was a joke.
Oh.
BetterHelp is here to tell you that it's never too late to be who you want to be. Therapy can help you to reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. BetterHelp makes it easy to get started with affordable phone, video, or live chat sessions you can do from anywhere. And the option to
Not a thing, Steven.
between sessions if anything comes up. So why not rediscover possibility with BetterHelp? Visit BetterHelp.com.
Not a thing. Dun, 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 da, 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 da.
12:30, countdown to kickoff on the Fan Upstate.
When it comes to the best sports budget, it's all on the Fan Upstate on Odyssey, no matter where you are, in the car, at home, at work. Download the Fan Upstate. Search the Fan Upstate and you're in the game. Hey, now we roll. The Fan Upstate.
Good morning.
Hello, Mario.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How about
I'm
dude,
so
you're
glad
looking
you're
slim, my man.
55 pounds down, pal. That's like as much as you weigh.
Yeah. Soaking well on Sunday.
All right, let's go. Here we go. Showtime. And away we go. The fourth, the final, the best of the money hour. The Rob Brown Show starts now. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular to have you here on the show. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is over there. And now it is time for me to begin this handicap match that I find myself in every Wednesday at 9 a.m. when we are joined here on the show by the executive producer of BetMGM Night. He is also an NFL and NBA betting analyst for the BetQL Network, the former executive producer of Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 in the BetQL Network, starring former MLB player Cody Decker and me, Rob Brown, maybe the handsomest duo of hosts anywhere in the country. Hayden S. Mario Heron from the BetQL Network here on the show. We missed you the last couple of weeks because the BetQL Network has been relatively busy with a brand new lineup of shows pretty much every day, every hour, except Saturdays noon to 4. And for some reason, they decided to hand you responsibility.
Yeah, hey, what are you going to do? We got BetMGM Game Day every Sunday from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern with Jason Lock4, Kate Constable, and Joe Ostrowski. And we have BetMGM tonight that you can catch Rob on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. with Brad Evans and Ryan Horvat. So make sure you guys all tune in. It's a good time. And side comment, who do I need to pay at the Fan Upstate to take all of the audio of me pumping up the Panthers and to burn it? And to burn it all, just burn it to the ground. I'm willing to pay $50.
I got you, man, for free.
Thank
We're
you.
good.
Thank you. Never happened.
So let's talk about it very briefly. Because this is where I was going to go anyway, right out of the gate. So I'm glad you brought it up. I apparently am the last and only optimist here. I'm like the last of the Mohicans, but it's positivity. All right, over here I got the power of positivity for the Panthers. Here's my thought, Mario. Let me lay it out on the table, and then you can shred it as you see fit. I got a young first-year head coach who's only in his second year of play calling. He's working with a quarterback who has gone through, during his NFL tenure of 1 year, a dumpster fire with Frank Reich and Chris Tabor last year and David Tepper and all that he's caused the problems with as his only time of experience in the NFL. The wide receiver core brings in a new number 1 in Deontay over from Pittsburgh to be the number 1. It moves the number 1 Adam Thielen down to number 3 into the slot wide receiver. It moves the number 2 receiver, John Mingo, who was the number 4 last year, and you bring up Xavier Legette to be the number 4 receiver, a rookie, brand new wide receiver core. I've added 2 offensive guards. It moves one of my tackles over to center, meaning I got one old tackle, 1 new tackle, a new center, 2 new offensive guards. As far as the offensive side of the ball goes, everything is brand new, and Dave Canales made one major mistake, which is he only played the starters for like 1 series in the preseason. If you don't think that patience is a virtue in this case, I don't know what to say. Yes, that was a bleep poor performance.
Game over, man. It's game over.
Awful performance on Sunday. And to a team I still think is going to be very mediocre. I said this with you guys Tuesday night. That I think the Saints are the most smoke and mirrors team from week 1. That's my own team, and I believe that. But did anybody think this team was going to come in and just look like gangbusters out of the gate? Come on, man. Like, it's going to take some time.
I'm with you. It's going to take some time, but the thing that kind of brought all the alarms in my head in this game was this wasn't like you were facing the Niners. It wasn't like you were facing the Lions, Eagles, I'll throw Cowboys, like a team that is competing to win the NFC. You're facing a divisional opponent that a lot of people would call a rival. In those games, we always talk about when you come to handicap it, those games are weird. They're always somehow close, and they somehow come down to the last second. And, you have those weird instances where said team is 3-10. They play the team that's 10-3. The 3-10 team wins. Why? Because it's a weird rivalry game and those weird things happen. They faced the Saints, and the Saints did that to them. They beat the living crap out of them. They made them look like a high school team. All 3 phases of the game looked bad. Pick on the first snap. Defense led up scores on Saints' first 9 possessions. Special teams gave up a blocked punt and a long punt return. All 3 phases, terrible. Then you lose your Pro Bowl defensive tackle. On top of that, I had faith. I'm not selling all of the stock. I'll keep 1, but a lot of it's gone. The divisional opponent thing is the part that scares me the most, and I think having the Chargers in week 2 is also not a good sign, because if there's any coach in the league that wants to send a message more than Jim Harbaugh, I would call you a liar. He's the guy that's going to want to pound the football. He's going to want to get his receivers activated. He wants Joshua Palmer to have a very good day. He wants Quinn Johnson to keep building up confidence because, boy, does he need it, because on a one-on-one with no safety over top, he can't win a matchup. It's a tough spot for him. I think it's only going to get worse. That game's going to be 20-0 in a very newly improved and physical Chargers defense, which I don't know if you saw last week. Joey Bosa looks like the Joey Bosa from 2-3 years ago, and that's a scary man.
I don't disagree with that. And I would go so far as to say, yeah, you're probably going to lose to the Chargers this weekend, especially if J.K. Dobbins is going to be J.K. Dobbins like he was J.K. Dobbins last week. Harbaugh warned us we're going to run the ball. And now the Panthers don't have Derek Brown to help stuff the run up the middle. So, yeah, listen, I'm not trying to argue that this is like a 10-win football team. I'm not even trying. Yeah. I'm saying I took over 4.5, and so did most people. That's why they are I think one of only 2 teams whose win total was increased by Vegas during the offseason. What I'm saying is, yeah, that game wasn't competitive. And yeah, that game looked awful. And it did look awful. That game was awful. What I'm saying is it takes time to lay a foundation, and I don't think, Mario, that people are – I think fans – do this frequently. I think they look at what's happening from sideline to sideline and goal line to goal line, and that's just all they consider. And they don't consider ownership. They don't consider coaching scenarios. They don't consider all the other, because it's not just Dave Canales. Like I said, it's all the dumpster fire that was the Frank Reich hire, the dumpster fire that was the end of the Matt Rule era. It was having 2 interim coaches in the midst there. All these things compound and stack up into a breaking point, and I think the breaking point was this offseason. And as I pointed out to Lonzo earlier, the big trigger on all of that is Dave Tepper. Quick question. What have you heard from Dave Tepper since Dave Canales was hired? Not a damn word, right? Let it go, bro. So I am hanging on the optimism that Tepper figured it out and he's getting the hell out of the way. And I'm going to let Dave Canales have some time to fix the room covered in diarrhea that was left behind after the last 2 years.
I will agree with you on that point, is give Dave Canales time. Like, I'm a big Canales guy. I said, coach of the year long shot. Like, that's kind of worth something. Give him time to keep building something there. Because they're like you said, there could be something there. The team's very, very young. Bryce Young's still a very young quarterback who just went through technically a 3rd head coach right now. So that's going to be very hard for a young player to kind of gets that and overcome that. And, you mentioned that receiving core. It's not like he's walked into a situation where he got Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore. Like, no, they traded away his number 1 guy and said, here's Adam Thielen, who is a career number 2 wide receiver, who's on the tail end of his career, and going, make the best of it. Like, that's what he got. Like, it's not a good hand to get. He's playing poker. He got, 4 and a 7 off suit. And the board, he looked at it, and it's a king, and it's queen, and a 10, and he's going, guys, I am in trouble. Didn't get a great hand. He's going to have to figure out from there. I want to, shut the door on this, I guess, whole quick era of Bryce Young, but at the same time, just keep your expectations low. Very, very low.
I think that's fair. All right, let's talk about some other teams around the league. We talked about it. I talked about it with Brad and Ryan on your show yesterday. We'll talk about it here on my show, and I'll give you the chance to answer the same question. Let's start with an individual team. People want to make it out like the Dallas Cowboys are back. And isn't it just another year where Dallas is going to look good all regular season long and wipe out? Like, why are people getting excited that Dak got paid and now Dallas is back? Dak was doing this last year too, and then they got wiped out by the Packers at home. Are we buying Dallas, or is it just another year of the narrative?
Another year of the narrative. I'm old enough to remember last year when in week 1 they beat the Giants 40-0, and we had this kind of celebration once again. Then they beat the Jets 30-10, and again we had this celebration. Oh, and then came the Cardinals, who beat them 28-16. Something similar could happen this year to the Dallas Cowboys. They face the Saints. I think they beat the Saints. I think that's a pretty easy win for them. I think they even cover in that game. I think big regressions coming for the Saints on that end. But the Cowboys defense, let's give props to them. They looked good. They picked off Watson twice. They only allowed 93 rushing yards. They looked very, very good. On the flip side of that, they played a Browns team where Deshaun Watson is not even 2% of the player he used to be. And then you have their best offensive player is still not back for the Browns and Nick Chubb. So are we really going to validate that win? Are we really going to hold that high for the Dallas Cowboys? I'm not going to. I still don't believe in Mike McCarthy at all. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's a bad loss away from really losing that locker room to a whole different level, and then it really becomes an explosion. The regression's going to come. I don't think it comes this weekend against the Saints, because I think the Saints are going to have a big come back to reality moment. I think it's going to be next week when they face the Ravens, and Jim Harbaugh is going to be pretty pissed off. John Harbaugh, I'm sorry. I've been talking about Jim too much. That's when I think that's going to they're going to come back down to reality and say, yeah, we are middle of the tier playoff team and nothing more than that.
Talk to me about the Saints. Are they real, or is this just the result of playing a bad Carolina team? Because I told you last night, I told Brad and Horvey last night, I still think Dennis Allen's one of the worst coaches in the league. That didn't suddenly change, but you also had Derek Carr, who coming into this season, I've talked about this a lot, underappreciated. Guy's one of the most efficient, not electric, not exciting, but efficient quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't miss open throws, doesn't make any that are like, get him on SportsCenter, but he doesn't miss open throws. And he came into the season going, look, I was banged up all last year. He had the shoulder issue, the head injury. Like, that guy was a walking mash unit. He said, I'm excited about the offense. We got playmakers. We got speed in Shaheed. We got Olave, who can catch anything that's within 1,000 miles of his hands. Alvin Kamara is back, and he certainly looked at 83 rushing yards this past week. Jamal Williams, who is a national treasure, and we must protect that man at all costs, and I will go to war for him, okay? Yes. Like he said, this offense is going to be different and something special, and they bring over Clint Kubiak, who ran the passing offense for San Francisco the last couple of years, which, you know, got him to some Super Bowls when he was in charge of it. On the flip side, Dennis Allen, and this team's very old. Should I be optimistic, hate and ask Mario, or should I just follow my gut and prepare myself for massive disappointment in this team?
Get ready for massive disappointment, because the key thing you said there, they're very old. And in the very old, you look at the next 4 games, and they have very tough matchups. So they have Cowboys this week. That's tough. You have the Eagles after that you host. And then you have the Falcons, who, yes, they were kind of a disappointment, but there's a lot of talent on that team. And it's a divisional game, so it's going to be a rough one. Then you play the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Whew, there's going to be some back to reality-ness that you're going to see in these next couple of weeks for the Saints. And that's just the way it goes in the NFL. I think this team is probably, as of now, the biggest threat to kind of take their division over the Buccaneers, because apparently the Buccaneers just didn't lose a beat this offseason. And again, we can go ahead and erase the tape of me crapping on the Buccaneers 100%. I still think they're the best option to kind of take that team out just based off what we saw in week 1. But I wouldn't be too high on them going, oh, they're going to be a wild card team. Oh, they're going to be in the playoffs. I wouldn't go that high yet. I think you still need to see more. Now, if they go in this 4-game stretch and they win 3 out of the 4 games, I think then you have every right to go, hey, this team's legit. Hey, this team's for real. Hey, we have something cooking. But if they go 1-3 during this, I think you see, all right, guys, we're just, we're in the same spot we were last year in this purgatory area where the franchise can't make a decision if we need to go forward or go backward and just completely tear it all down. And we got to start at one point, wake up and smell the roses going, our roster's pretty old. It's time to revamp it.
I agree with that entirely. And I to the point that because of what I said to Dallas a minute ago, like even if New Orleans goes to Dallas and beats the Cowboys, yeah, the vibes get high. It doesn't mean I'm ready to go Super Bowl champs, but like the vibes will certainly pick up. Week 1, biggest surprise to me was not Carolina getting throttled by the Saints. It was New England, who I think is the worst team in the league. I'm not changing that up today, beating Cincinnati. Now, on one hand, no T. Higgins, got a busted hammy. Jamar Chase had practiced for, I believe, 19 seconds this offseason before he strapped on the helmet to play week 1. But since then, something interesting has happened. There's a lot of footage of Joe Burrow flexing that wrist and kind of working it out. There's a video of him picking up a Gatorade bottle and then kind of looking like it almost hurt to pick that up and having to switch it to the other hand to use it. Are we in panic mode about the Bengals?
So before we get into any of that, let's just all take a second to remember that Zach Taylor is 1-10 in the first 2 weeks of the season. So they've never been a team that starts off strong in the Zach Taylor era. They always start off slow. They always start off as a team that you go, hey, they lost it this year, and then they turn into the Bengals that we all know and love them for. Joe Burrow. It looked in that game that he wanted to throw it anywhere but downfield. He wanted to do dump down. He wanted to be Drew Brees. That's what he wanted to be. That could be concerning. Could that be the risk? It could be. Could that also be that he's had receivers hold out in that the chemistry is just a little off. And when you throw, the longer you go, the more trust needs to be there, more chemistry needs to be there. Flip side of that, how much chemistry does he really need with T. Higgins, Jamar Chase? He's played with Jamar Chase since college. They know each other pretty well now. So the trust should be there. It's going to look worse for Cincinnati. I think the panic button is a little bit there. I think this week, Chiefs, I took it at 5.5 yesterday, which I hate 5.5. That's my least favorite number in all of betting. It's just kick me in the nuts as you take my money, but kick me in the nuts and take my money. Bet MGM. That's where we're at, baby. I took that at 5.5. I bet it again at 6. I think the Chiefs are going to welcome the Cincinnati Bengals in the Arrowhead, and they're going to put Burrow ahead everywhere around that locker room, and they're going to kick the living crap out of them. I think it's going to be a message game. I think they're going to turn up the pressure on Burrow. I think they're going to go, hey, we're going to force you to throw the ball downfield. Let's see how good that wrist really does feel. It's going to get worse for Cincinnati. This is not going to be a pretty game. 154 passing yards against the New England Patriots. Welcome to the big leagues. Welcome to a defense that's won Super Bowls with a defensive coordinator that's arguably top 3 in the league. It's going to get worse for them. And if you go 4 for 11 on third down against Kansas City, you might as well just go ahead and take the loss and not even play the fourth quarter.
I don't disagree with that take. The only way Cincinnati escapes is if T. Higgins comes back and they have the full complement. If they are down at all, I think they're in trouble against Kansas City. Don't disagree at all. Hayden asks Mario. Mario Heron is an NFL and NBA betting analyst for the BetQL Network, also the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight with Ryan Horvat and Brad Evans. You can hear that show right here on this station every single weeknight from 7 until 11 p.m. He is also the former executive producer of Bet for the Cycle, which airs noon to 4 on the BetQL Network, and is a guest at my wedding next weekend in St. Augustine. Hayden asks Mario, you ready?
I'm excited.
I'm not even going to make you get the tattoo while we're down there. We're just good vibes only.
Well, I just picked out the outfit.
Let's go.
For the wedding. So there you go.
Let's go.
I just remembered I have to pick up my dry cleaning because I was supposed to pick it up on Monday. I still have not done that.
Mario's still learning how to adult. It's cute. Thanks, big dog. We'll talk. Actually, we won't talk to you next week because I'm off on Wednesday, but I'll see you in Florida next week, pal.
I'll see you in Florida, the Sunshine State. Let's get weird on the dance floor.
You know what's happening. Hey, Nas Mario Heron from the BetQL Network here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Urban.
All right, brother, we got to run to a read. I appreciate you, big dog. I'll holler at you later this afternoon.
Awesome. See you guys. Thank you. Love you, Lonzo.
first time since I heard somebody describe something as a turd nugget, Steven.
Over 50 and want a bigger, better, stress-free retirement, call today to speak to a specialist and get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Retirement Deception. Call 888-231-2573. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free. So don't delay. Call right now. 888-231-2573. That's 888-231-2573.
The Furman football team is back in action, looking for its first win of the season Saturday afternoon at Paladin Stadium, and we've got the broadcast for you. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Scott, inviting you to join David Cobb, Tom Van Hoyenbeek as the Paladins entertain the Stetson Hatters at 2 p.m. on Saturday at Paladin Stadium. Pregame begins at 12:30 with the countdown to kickoff. Furman and Stetson, 12:30 countdown to kickoff on the Fan Upstate.
Your guide to the gridiron, the maestro of the matchups, and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world. This is Above
All right, short segment here, so I'll bring this up very quickly. It is official, finally, the United States men's national football team has a new gaffer, a new leader, a new manager, and that manager is Mauricio Paracheno. He got the official hire yesterday, a 2-year contract. It is a 2-year contract because that will ensure that he is in charge through the summer of 2026, of course, the year that the United States of America will host the World Cup. They are going to make sure that the Argentinian is in charge of the program, a program that last night found themselves fighting with New Zealand to a 1-1 draw. It was not ideal for the Americans last night, as New Zealand was able to pop a goal late in that contest to save a draw. Captain America, Christian Pulisic, very not happy with the performance. And in the post-game interview, they said, hey, how do you expect Mauricio Paracheno to step in and culture build around here? And Pulisic said, there should already be a culture. We shouldn't need to build a culture. There should already be a culture. This should be a team with the talent we have, with the ability we have. This should be a team that already has a culture and identity, and we just don't. And he's spot on. He's spot on. It absolutely should, and it just doesn't. This should be a team. This should be an organization, a federation that even if we are not competing with the Argentinas and the Italys and the Germanys and the Englands and the Spains and the Frances of the world, it is a team with a country of 30 some odd million people in it that should have been able to forge and craft an identity. And when you have what, at least on paper, is the most talented roster of American soccer players that you have ever had at one time on one roster, it kind of stinks that you've got to bring in a manager from elsewhere 2 years away from not just playing in the World Cup, but hosting the World Cup. What is happening now should have been happening 6 years ago. Not now. What is happening now, 2 years from the World Cup, should have been happening before the last World Cup. But it didn't. And it didn't because the U.S. Soccer Federation had its own head so far up its own rear end. It was so ingrained in promoting the MLS. It was so ingrained in just sheer and outright nepotism that we effectively wasted 4 years. We just wasted 4 years. And so now here we are 2 years away from the World Cup. Actually, less than 2 years away from the World Cup now, obviously. Less than 2 years away. And we're roster building. I mean, we're roster building. We are just finding and signing a gaffer at this point. It's not a good look. Now, with that being said, I'm actually relatively excited about the hiring. All right. Do I think it's a slam dunk? I can't say it is. Pochettino does not have a ton of, actually no experience coaching international footy. And coaching international football is very different than coaching domestic league football, right? Now, Pochettino has a ton of experience coaching domestic ball, and not just coaching domestic ball, but coaching domestic ball at some of the biggest clubs in the world. He has coached at Paris Saint-Germain. He has coached at Chelsea, et cetera, Tottenham Hotspur, some of the biggest organizations in the world he's been in charge of. So he's got that experience, and that's good. The guy knows pressure. There's not more pressure in coaching than coaching English Premier League football, than coaching French top division football. You can't do bigger than that, right? That's getting an NFL job in the world of soccer. But he doesn't have international experience, and there is a difference, because with international experience, you got X amount of days, weeks, whatever, to bring in guys that have learned everything they've learned at domestic clubs and go, that's great, put that aside, we're doing this for this club. And if you don't get that right, we're going to fail. And I don't know if that's going to be something he can do or not. But as far as what was on the table, what was available for Team USA, it's as good of a hire as they've made in my lifetime. We'll see how it plays out. Congrats on a good hire. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Yes, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your sports flash on The Fan Upstate.
Mad World Haunted Attraction is now open. Only one of America's top haunts and #1 in South Carolina. Mad World is much more than just a haunted house. It's a fall tradition like no other. Explore your way to the award-winning and elaborate haunted house and trail. Haunted houses not your thing? We have 18-hole mini golf, axe throwing, and carnival games. Enjoy our food, bonfire, rolling characters, 3D photos, gift shop, and fun for the whole family. Still too faint of heart? Grab one of our no-scare medallions to brave the attractions with your friends. Got kids? They'll be able to take over the night and repel the monsters that lurk around. Mad World is the Upstate's most anticipated event of the year. Grab your friends and get ready to scream. Located in Piedmont on I-85 exit 35. Buy your tickets now at madworldattractions.com. That's madworldattractions.com. This is where it starts.
Morning, James. Welcome in, big dog. Good to have you. Glad you're here, as always. I don't know who it was that asked earlier, but yes, Rashad. Oh, it was Steven. Yes, Rashad is, as of right now, Rashad was scheduled to be here tomorrow. And he is not. Usually he would let me know by now if he's not going to make it because he gets called into the office or whatever. And he has not done that yet. So I shall assume Rashad will be here.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Scheinkopf's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448.
I find that funny because I'm a child, Steven. I don't know what to tell you.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We
I'm being targeted by CrossFit ads.
find out how to bring your ideas to
Nope.
life at Dell.com.
Not that I'm against it. Good for you if that's your thing.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right call when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only, subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Exclusions and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in retirement and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
The Infinity Sports Network. Early Birds.
The Rob Brown Show continues. It is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment of the show. Spectacular to have you here on the broadcast. Let us keep rocking and rolling here on the show. I got a couple more sound bites for you that I want to run by you. One of them I am going to play because I'm actually pretty excited about the career of this young cat. That's JT Sanders. Jatavion Sanders, the tight end out of the University of Texas, who got drafted by the Cats this past season. I'm actually significantly excited because I think JT Sanders is a guy that has got all the potential in the world. He is absolutely a pass catcher. He is a guy that has the ability to block and set the edge. And I think that when you combine those two things and you have some speed, and JT has some speed. We saw a little bit of it, flashes of it during the game this weekend. I think you've got a combination that has a lot of potential ahead of it. Well, one of the things that I like to talk about for Rooks is that you got to have your welcome to the league moment, right? Especially for Rooks that are very talented and come out of Power 4 schools. When a kid comes out of a Power 4 school and a Power 4 school where they had success, and they come out of a Power 4 school where they had success and were a dynamite player on that team, sometimes they come into the league with the expectation that that's just how it's going to be. And you know the guys that I'm talking about. There is one of them right now, as much as I have been a defender for some time, one of them plays quarterback for the Carolina Panthers right now. I do think there is a little bit of that Alabama success in the head of Bryce Young. And I think last season kind of showed him, nope, you're actually going to have to work. You're going to have to try. Well, JT Sanders had himself a little bit of a welcome to the league moment this weekend. And in a quick interview yesterday, he talked about it.
Honestly, we had a run play and Chase Young just ran straight through my face. You know what I'm saying? That was my real wake-up call to the NFL. Just knowing that you can't out-muscle every guy. That these are all grown-ass men, and they all strong as hell. So just trying to get stronger and better every day. You know what I'm saying?
After he ran through your face, like, what was going through your mind?
I was like, I ain't letting that happen again. But really just trying to bounce back from the next play. Not, like I said, not trying to linger on that previous play and just focus on the next play because that's all I can control.
Like that from JT. He went with the Gardner Minshew.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
Because he is. Chase Young's a dude. It's a dude. Remember, and not just is he a dude, but he's in New Orleans on a one-year deal. This is a guy trying to extend his career, trying to extend his contract, trying to extend his NFL ability for another season and, get paid. Get paid next year. So he ran through JT Sanders' face. JT said, that was my welcome to the league moment. They said, what are you thinking about when that happens? And he says, I'm not going to let that happen again. I get it. I like it. I think this kid has got a ton of potential. Again, yesterday, when I was getting the final little bit of work done on the rig while I was in the shop yesterday, I sat down and I watched every play of that game from the all 22 cam, from two angles, all 22 from the side, all 22 from behind the offensive line. And I watched JT Sanders. He's quick off the football. He's got a good first step. I think there is going to have to be a little bit of development as far as recognizing and understanding where routes need to be broken off, where routes need to be followed through. I think there was a couple of spots where if JT Sanders gets underneath a linebacker, he presents a better target for Bryce Young. But instead, he ran his route. And again, he's a rook. Can't get upset about a rookie running the route that is called for him on a particular play. But I think there were some spots where, and this is something that you got to work on with your quarterback as well. But there are spots where I thought JT stayed on his assigned route, where if he would have broken the route and modified the route, he could have done it with the understanding of Bryce Young. Now, again, maybe I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt here because we've played 1 week and he is a rookie. That was game number 1 for him. And the only reason he was starting is because of injuries to Tommy Tremble and Thomas, the other tight ends on the roster, who were expected to get the start. It was his rookie game, his year 1, week 1. There was going to be some level of nerves for everybody in that game, I think. It's going to take time to develop chemistry with Bryce Young or whoever's playing quarterback, Bryce Young or otherwise. But there were spots in that game where I thought, all right, if JT breaks this route off, if he modifies this route, right? Maybe it's supposed to be a 5-yard out. Linebackers sitting at 5 yards. Now, if 5 yards is what you need for the first down, that's one thing. But part of the job of the tight end in the passing scheme is to manipulate coverage. Part of the game is to manipulate coverage. It's to pull guys into a position or out of a position. It is to move a linebacker out of a pocket where another wide receiver is going to come through, or to force a linebacker to stay home so that a combo route elsewhere will work for you. That's kind of the goal. But he's also meant to be a target. You didn't draft Ja'Tavion Sanders to be a distraction. You drafted him to be a threat and then become a threat. You know who you drafted him to be? And I know that this is big aspirations, big shoes to fill for a guy who's played 1 game. You drafted him to be Travis Kelce on Monday night. On Monday night, sorry. What night did y'all play? Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night last week. On Thursday night last week, Travis Kelce did not hit any of his projected numbers. You know what he did do? Open up the floor for like 3 other guys. 3 other guys did hit their numbers. And those were all directly attributable to Travis Kelce because Travis Kelce is a threat every time he puts on a football helmet. And so you ended up in a spot, I thought, where other guys were the beneficiary of Travis Kelce not hitting his numbers. I think you have that in Ja'Tavion Sanders. You have a dude that you can do what you do with Travis Kelce. You don't want to cover him? You don't want to respect the modified route out of TK87? Cool. Patrick Mahomes is going to put that football in his face mask and he's going to eat you alive. You want to overcommit to Travis Kelce? Cool. Rashee Rice is going to run right to the spot that your extra defender on 87 vacated. That's Ja'Tavion Sanders. That's what I think he has the capability of doing. I'm not saying he's got Travis Kelce's skill. I don't know. We haven't developed the guy. He's played 1 game. But I think that's the role he can fill. And the fact that he got his welcome to the NFL moment, good. Because those are the kind of things you need. And when you get him out of the way early, I think you're in a good spot. All right, one thing I want to do before we get up out of here. This is a clip I found on social media during the show today. And I listened to it. And for the purposes of the programming, I'm going to assume it's real. All right. I'm going to assume it's not a work. I don't know if it is or not. This is the post of a dad who said he got called up to the school to address a situation involving his child and a bully. I want you to listen to it, and we'll play a baby version of Faces or Heels.
We just got back from my son's school because the school suspended my son for 3 days because he put laxatives into a cupcake that a bully stole from him. This bully would constantly shove my kid around and steal his lunch because, quote, he is too fat to enjoy such meals as we send him to school with. So my son decided to outsmart his bully and put laxatives into a cupcake that he knew the bully would steal from him. The bully once again stole my kid's lunch, including the cupcake, and the laxatives took an almost immediate effect. The bully defecated in his pants and then for an hour more defecated in the bathroom. Now let's move on to today for the appeal. My wife and I went to the school in order to defend our son, and wouldn't you know it, the bully and his parents were also there. Why were they there? Well, they wanted my son to face harsher punishment, not just suspension, but expelled from the school. The bully's parents got to speak first, and they got to say their piece, including bringing up the school's zero tolerance for fighting, even when it's retaliation. And that my son should be facing harsher punishment because, quote, my son poisoned their son. And that even though their son forcibly took the cupcake, it was my son's intent for their son to eat that cupcake. That this was thought out and then carried out.
Good dad, bad dad. Good dad, bad dad. I'm going good dad. All right. I'm going. My kid's getting a trip to Chuck E. Cheese that night. My man knows he can't win the fight. Can't get into a fist fight. All right. You can't win. Even if you could get into it, you can't win the fist fight. So you go about it other ways. You go about other ways. You subvert. You play the long game. You play the mental game, and that is exactly what this kid did. Listen, I don't know what Pops did here. He didn't say, "Oh, I took him out to the arcade after we got a pizza." You know, I let him stay home. We went to a baseball game. I don't know what he did. I assume he did. It's what I would have done. I love this. Good dad, bad dad, Lonzo. Good dad, bad. I'm going good dad.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I can't. If the dad came up with the idea, he could very definitely be sued. If the kid did it, then it's okay.
I'm going to start with this. Unless the kid has a bout with honesty, that's something that we'll never know. And that's almost brilliance of the plan, if that's the case. I don't know. I'm going. Wesley says, good dad. No, wait, great dad. I'm going to say this. The kid gets credit. He gets credit because he figured out a way to get one over on the bully without getting into a fist fight.
What's the age group of this?
It sounds elementary school based on the story. I don't know that it is. The way he's telling the story, and he talks about, it's a bully and it's lunchtime and he steals my kid lunch and says he's too fat to have a lunch like that we pack him. I'm going to make the assumption, we got to work with only the details we have here. I'm going to make the assumption probably like at latest middle school. Let's say sixth grade. Let's put him right there in the mix. I'm going to say good dad. Kid came up with a plan that didn't involve getting punched in the face because he can't win that fight. Kid came up with a plan, got a little revenge, humiliated said bully, and what are you going to do? All he had to do was not steal my cupcake.
70s, 80s, 90s, good dad. Now, probably not so much because of the scrutiny on things like this, and wouldn't shock me if there's a lawsuit involved. Did he take care of the bully? Yes. But this may end up hurting the entire family in the end.
That's fair, which is I gotta think in this spot, if your pop's in this spot, right? I think in this spot you gotta tell the kid, hey, this was your idea. No matter even if it wasn't, this is your idea. You did this. Because what are you gonna do? Bust up a kid for facing down a bully like that? You're gonna sue an 8-year-old? I don't know that you can. I mean, you sue the dad, I guess, but you're gonna sue the 8-year-old? I don't know. I don't know how you play that. If you're the parents of the bully,
You should also blame the school in this day and age with things that are happening at schools. Recognizing that a kid is being bullied and taking care of it. It's also on the education of the people who are in charge there.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And Wesley brings up a good point. I think the other thing here is I just tell the kid to tell the authority, hey, listen, man, I've been stopped up. That was a cupcake that I made myself to, get regular is a term that the great one told me that I had never heard before. I needed my laxative cupcake to get regular. And then the bully stole it. It's really his fault. I don't know. I'm going good, Dad.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
All right. The first thing that's Xing is Dana White.
I'm assuming it's because Dana White. I saw Dana White on ESPN earlier this morning. There's a UFC event coming up that is going to be in the Sphere, which, okay. I mean, let's see how it looks, I guess. It doesn't really seem like a venue that's set up for that, but I guess you have all the possibilities in the world with that big screen behind the octagon.
They've been talking about this for a year or so, and the amount of money it costs to do what they're going to do. Dana White has said that there's never, ever going to be anything like what you're going to see Saturday night.
I'm intrigued.
Including they put out their Easter eggs. And if you can find the Easter eggs, I believe the amount is $10,000 if you can find all the Easter eggs while watching the broadcast. And that's not for the fighters. I believe that is for people who are watching the broadcast.
What, on the Sphere, on the wall?
Sphere screen.
Huh.
Yes.
I mean, listen.
And maybe it's for people in the venue because I don't know how much we're actually going to be able to see of the Sphere on the TV broadcast, but I'm sure there'll be several different camera angles.
Yeah, it's an interesting gimmick to get people to tune in. Which again, this is a gimmick, but so's everything else. Everything's a work.
I'm sure we will go over the card tomorrow because it's a really, really good card. The next thing it's Xing is Jacob Fatu.
So I've not yet gotten a chance. I'm still trying to catch up with I don't know, I'm like 3 days behind, but the Bloodline showed up on NXT last night, is my understanding, and wrecked the place.
Yes. And Fatu's out of control. And I don't think anyone ever hurts this guy. He hurts himself because he has no body control and has no concern for his own body.
It clearly does not. Kayfabe or otherwise. Can I tell you this though? I kind of love it. I kind of like it. It's been a hot minute.
He gives credence to the new Bloodline.
Oh, for sure. He is the new. He is what Solo was when Solo initially debuted, and it was like everybody took him very seriously. It has been a hot minute since we have felt like we've had a genuine, dangerous, unhinged heel, and he's all of those things. I'm here for it. I love what he's doing.
All right. The last thing that's Xing is 9/11.
Of course, it is 9/11. We spend today remembering that day from 21 years ago. And I said earlier in the show, and I'll say it again now, sports is unique. Sports is a global human phenomenon, right? Sports are played and celebrated all over the world, but the way that we celebrate sports is something that makes us uniquely American. And the people who would do things like we all experience, those of us that are of that age, 21 years ago, the goal was to disrupt. The goal was to take away from us. It was to take away things that we love. It was to take away our way of life. And to me, the best way to commemorate and to celebrate is to do what we do. It's to love what we love. It's to love those things how we love them. And it's to make sure that we change nothing about what makes being American so damn good. So we did our regular show. I hope that all of you have a regular day. I hope all of you that you enjoy your day, and I hope you take just a few minutes at some point to reflect on what it means for us to be fortunate enough to be sports fans and to be Americans and to enjoy all that comes along with that. That's it for us today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for being here. We will be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Rashad Beard will be here tomorrow at 8:40. Lulu Kesson will be here tomorrow at 8 a.m. straight up to talk Gamecock football. And Fight Club with the great Milonzo tomorrow at 9:20 a.m. Don't miss it, because it's going to be a good Thursday. For Alonzo, I'm Rob. Thanks for listening to the Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Later.
It's good. It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
Did I say 24 years ago? I think I said 24 years ago. Whoops. Sorry. 23 years ago. Bad at math. Shocking. I know. All right, dudes, that's it for me. I got to go record a bunch of stuff. Thanks for being here. You're all amazing. We appreciate it. Have a spectacular rest of your Wednesday. See you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.